Today we're here to do a full movie breakdown, analysis, and film criticism of Sheila and Troy's story from the 2007 movie Why Did I Get Married and the 2010 film Why Did I Get Married 2.
Just to let you guys know, we do have over 20 videos linked in the playlist in the description on the Why Did I Get Married franchise. And we are just excited. Well, at least I'm excited. Heit is tolerating it. The release of the Why Did I Get Married Again movie that's coming out in September 2026. If it's after that point, we already have started our videos on that movie and our breakdowns and stuff. So be sure to check the playlist because it'll be updated as we have new videos, that come along.
We are the foremost experts on Why Did I Get Married, besides Tyler Perry. We are going to
go back, take you back in time, and break their story all the way down. This video will focus on Troy and Sheila's relationship and Mike trying to interrupt their happiness.
I'm Heit.
And I'm Cheri.
And you've discovered Axiom Amnesia.
We want to thank all of the supporters who helped to make this video possible. If you want your name to appear alongside these contributors, make a one-time donation via Cash App, or you can head on over to patreon.com/axiomamnesia to enjoy all of the benefits of becoming a monthly subscriber.
Giving up is hard to do.
So as the scene opens, we're at this point in the movie where the secret is out. Mike, Sheila's husband, has been revealed to have been cheating at that infamous dinner scene.
The reason she can't go with this man or any other man is because she's sleeping with yours, Sheila.
Where everything just explodes. And so Mike has been fooling around with Trina, his side chick, his mistress.
It's over. I'll be more than fair, but I want a divorce.
Who he brought to this couples retreat. And now Sheila knocked him in the head with a wine bottle. And now we have her just in a hotel room, just mourning the loss. She can't believe it. She just is devastated. You can even tell from the way she's just rocking back and forth. And then the music is playing.
While she's in this hotel room acting like this, Jennifer Holliday's Giving Up from 1987 is playing.
Giving up is hard to do.
But, the song goes way back to probably as far as 1964 with Gladys Knight and the Pips. But my favorite version is Donny Hathaway from Donny Hathaway album in 1971.
So then there's a knock at the door.
Sheila, you know you had the key in the door.
So the knock at the door is none other than Sheriff Troy. And first thing she says is, you come to arrest me? And he's like, nah, I came to check on you.
You came to arrest me.
I just came to check on you.
Again, he is checking on her, making sure that she is safe.
The sheriff is here to comfort the criminal.
Shut up. This is a great story.
She is a criminal.
Mean? Listen, Sheriff Troy is the hero of this movie.
She assaulted, battered that man. And then the sheriff, that's why she was like, you come to arrest me and did I kill him? Should I? But I should have, right?
Did I kill him?
Nah,
you witnessed this assault.
Yeah, he did.
Then Troy is trying to make his exit. He's like, all right, y'all, I just think I just need to get on up out of here.
Well, you all, thanks for dinner, but I should be going.
And he's like, let me go comfort her.
And it's the next day, right? So she didn't get arrested that night. When he witnessed all of that, he didn't do anything that night either. And so go to the comments. Let us know. Should Sheriff Troy have intervened and done his sheriffly duties that night or not? I mean, of course, I don't think that he should have done anything. Where were her friends
then?
They let her leave. They let her leave out of that door after she cold cocked Mike over the head with that champagne bottle or that wine bottle.
Yeah, and then in the next scene, they're still leaving the cabin.
I'm really sorry about everything, okay?
He is here already. He done went online and drained the account.
I have $87 to my name.
I mean, it don't take long to drain an account, even in 2007.
Yeah. She said, I have $87 to my name. It don't matter if it take that long. It's like, as soon as this happened, that's what he did.
I mean, true. But this lends itself to the fact that I believe that he was planning for what could happen if it was exposed, especially once he brought Trina on the trip. Like, one of the questions that we asked in the polls was whether or not people felt that Mike was planning to leave her, or would Mike have ever left? And I don't know that Mike was exactly planning to leave her, but things escalated pretty quickly. And once he was exposed, I think Mike just was like, fine, I want a divorce. But he cleaned out the bank account and she was like, I only have $87 to my name. Like, and I just want to just talk about the stuff that happens just in this one little scene. First thing she asked, like you said, is, did I kill him? And, Troy's like, no, you didn't kill him. And she said, I should have killed him. And he like, you don't mean that. And then when she just keeps sitting there, he's like, well, maybe you do, right?
I should have killed him.
Sheila, you don't mean that. Maybe you do.
We find out the reason why, because she's like, I gave him my life. Like, I gave him everything.
I gave him my life.
As many of you know, changes on this platform have pushed us toward a more viewer-funded model. So if you'd like to help to keep the channel going, there are a few easy ways to support us. You can become a member and unlock over 100 exclusive videos, plus additional member perks. You can also become an executive producer or co-executive producer on an upcoming video through our Deep Dive on Demand, starting at just $10, which gets your name on the screen and a shout out during the video, or you can pick up some merch to represent the community. And don't forget to join our mailing list so you never miss a video across any of our channels. Also, if you're looking for something to watch after this video, be sure to check out our bedtime binge playlist that's linked below. It's full of videos you may have missed. You'll find links to all of these options in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being here. And thanks for helping keep these deep dives coming. And he emptied out my bank account. And we talked about the fact that in the movie, because I know some of y'all like to talk about the play and everything else, but in the movie, they don't have kids and Sheila doesn't appear to work outside of the home. So all of her financial means are coming from Mike. And he left her with $87 to her name. He emptied out the bank account. So she has no access to money. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
And she don't have enough money to get gas to drive back north to where she came from.
She can't even drive home. And I don't know. We
could get a bus or a train ticket.
For $87, maybe a bus. She might be on the funky Greyhound bus for $87. But even still, so when you get back, where do you go to? You can't even apparently go home. Your stuff probably gonna be moved out, boxed up.
Well, maybe somebody lived there.
Trina gonna be living at her house by the time she drives all the way home.
The rental house he talked about.
I mean, it takes time to work those logistics out.
You have financially stable, I guess, friends, and you have that. You may have family.
Your friends. Well, and see the reason, and I started to be hard on the friends, but at the end of the day, after what happens at that table, everybody's relationship is heavily impacted and nobody had the bandwidth to be able to care about somebody else and what was going on with them, quite frankly, right? Because once Mike exposed everybody's secrets, everybody kind of went to their respective corners to kind of deal with.
What about Angela?
Well, she was dealing with...
in the same position they were before.
I mean, kind of, but it was still exposed. I mean, so they were all dealing with their relationships blowing up on the spot. Because my first instinct was to be like, girl, why your friends ain't been friending this whole time, except maybe Angela, who wanted to at least tell her that her man was cheating. But now, we have this situation. She's sitting in this hotel room and she's like, I only have $87 to my name. And I know I keep saying this, but ladies, men too, whatever. If you've ever had somebody clean out, just like literally take your money from you, take the money that you had and you have nothing and you're sitting there and you have to rely on somebody else to kind of get you out of this situation because somebody has done you dirty. Like, man, some of y'all in the comments know what that feels like.
How much is this room going to cost?
The room looked like, well, see, it's in a resort area, so it's probably inflated. But at the same time, like maybe last night she had money in her account by the morning.
Yeah, but when do they charge it?
Well, they probably would have authorized it when she moved in.
So she got to get out.
So she can't even stay. That's the point. Maybe she can't even stay in the room. So she's in this janky motel room and everything. And Sheriff Troy is there. But the fact that he came to check on her, like, to me is saying that he has care for her more than he would have just for a regular person in this. The fact that he didn't arrest her.
He said I could be a side dude.
Shut up. Sheriff Troy is not a side dude. Sheriff Troy is a main dude, and he's respectful too. He is the hero of this movie.
Bro. She is married, and then he about to step on up.
Listen, what does he say at the end? Another man's trash is one man's trash is another man's treasure. He about to make this his treasure. She's expressing all of this to Sheriff Troy. Again, we could also talk about the dynamics that we've discussed in the past between men and women traditionally. And we know that Sheila's a traditional woman where, you know, the woman is looking to the man expressing what's going on. And the man naturally feels the desire as well as the obligation in some cases to fix the situation or to help, right? And that's what Sheriff Troy is about to do. And so he's like, well, if you got a minute, I can show you something.
Well, if you got a minute, I'd like to show you something.
She ain't got nothing but minutes because she don't know what she gonna do. She don't have anywhere to stay. She's still in her clothes from last night. She done sat up rocking on this bed the whole night. Like the level of pain, whoo, child.
This is where I come to clear my head.
Somehow, Sheila and Troy are on top of a mountain. And Troy explains, hey, I come here, you know what I'm saying, to just spend some time and stuff, clear my head, all this good stuff.
I just come right here, pray, I scream, I yell.
Sheila asks, do you come here to cry sometimes? And he said, yeah, that too.
You ever come here to cry?
Yeah, that too.
And then she just goes into, you know, this mode, and she's talking about, you know, what did I do wrong?
What did I do? Why he betrayed me?
It's very weird because there are certain philosophies that guides people into believing that when things happen to them, it's their fault. It's something they did or did not do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that the introspective person will tend to blame themselves initially, right? Especially victims. And in this case, you know, she definitely was a victim of his inconsideration and his verbal abuse. And, you know, Mike is what we're talking about.
Hey.
The hell are you gonna?
And so she comes over, sits on the side of the bed.
Trina said you might like it.
And then he literally laughs in her face.
Ah, Trina lied.
And while he's laughing in her face, she's telling him, I want us to work.
I love you. I've always loved you.
What do I have to do to make it work? He continues with his cruelness and he's like, well, first thing you can do is,
You could lose about 50 pounds. Then I might be somewhat attracted to you.
you know, she was a victim of all of that. And it is not uncommon for victims to blame themselves. And then we also know that she's a very religious woman. She's a Black American Christian woman. And a religion is her rock. This is supposed to be her place where she can go. That when things are bad, you know, her prayer is supposed to keep her right in the moments where she's slipping. And so she really has this moment where she starts to cry after she says, well, you know, do you come up here to cry?
I can't even describe to you the pain I feel.
And she can't even describe the pain.
It hurts.
She's just like, she wants to know what she did that was so wrong that he betrayed me. Right. So again, she's taking Mike's actions, internalizing them and turning them on herself, saying like, this is my fault. And Mike, you know, has made her believe that it's her fault. Everything is her fault. Oh, you're too fat. You're too this, you're too whatever. But mainly he focuses on her being overweight as this is the reason why things are bad. Well, the truth is that Mike is just a dog and that's why things are bad. But you know, she is internalizing it. And I do think she felt that Mike loved her and she couldn't believe what, you know, she just is in disbelief, basically. And then she says, I have no life without him, you know, and talks about how much that this whole thing hurts.
I have no life without him.
To even express it even further, she just goes on and says, I can't even pray about it.
I can't even pray about it.
Now, for anybody who is Christian and or knows Christians, the first thing that they're going to tell you to do, and maybe in other religions too, is when things are bad, pray on it, pray about it, right? And in this case, her head is so messed up and so scrambled. She's so devastated that she can't even pray. And I'm sure that some people have been at that point in their life. Like she can't do what she usually does to be her rock in her life. You know, if she's completely knocked off of her square. You know, she cannot do anything. But Sheriff Troy, again, kind of listens, doesn't really say anything. And then he's like, well, it's a great time for a new start if you want to stay.
It's a great time for a new start. you want to stay.
She don't have much choice. When she gonna drive on break.
She could be like, Troy, can I borrow $150 for gas?
I know,
to
and
get
never
back
see
to my
you
cheating
again.
husband. And then when I was looking at, how he's looking at her, like, just imagine if you're Troy, like, this is a mess. Okay. Some of the viewers have expressed how they like the fact that we bring the male or the female perspective to these stories. But as a man, if you come across a woman like Sheila, where you were initially interested and then you see all of this mess that is her life, like,
I don't bring the male perspective, I don't think, as a man. I just bring my thoughts and as me.
okay,
But
well, as
he
your
brought
thoughts
her
and
up
as you.
here, so I don't know why would he bring her up here. Is he just that caring for this stranger, right? How many people have bad things happen in this little resort area? I guess don't seem like much people there, but anyway, that he gets involved like this. But if she's like this, I'm just like, yeah, it's messed up. Hope it all works out. Like, what is there to do?
Well, he offers her a way to stay.
Well, he didn't. He said it's a great time for a new start if you want to stay. I don't know.
To me, that sounds like you ain't gonna be telling me this if you ain't got a viable way for me to stay. And he's being a man, like he's trying to give solutions in this moment.
Okay.
And you're right. I shouldn't break it down solely based on gender, but this is a Tyler Perry film. We know what the kind of implications are. And I do think the fact that, it's a man to the rescue is part of the plot.
Yeah, maybe the writer's perspective of men. Maybe. Yeah.
So when I look at this, I think that Sheriff Troy is a man who has a lot of compassion. I think that he wants to help. He seems like a genuinely kind of kind man. We don't know a whole lot about him. We just know that he was supposed to be an Army brat.
Yeah.
And that he owns this property. And, he's up there. But he shares his special place with her.
Yeah, what I do know about our community in the last few years, we talk about how no one should feel entitled to other people's stuff and all of that. And we had this whole thing on Axiom Amnesia channel talking about Terry and stuff. So if a guy says it's a great time for a new start, if you want to stay, don't assume that he going to be footing the bill for you to stay in this place. Or you just being entitled. So we can pick and choose when, we should just be expecting somebody to do something for us, right? But because he don't know her from a can of paint.
Yeah.
This is a stranger.
Yeah.
So if I hear that from a stranger, I'm like, how the hell I'm going to stay here? I ain't got no job. I ain't got no place to stay. I'm leaving. That's what,
Well, I mean, and if I was Sheila, that would be my next question. Like, how am I going to stay?
Yeah.
I just told you I got $87. How can I stay? And then he may propose some options on how to stay or, what could happen.
They cut the scene, so we don't know if that happened or not.
Right. That is very true. But the other thing is in this movie, in this film, because we're in this magical world, Sheriff Troy is playing the position of the hero. He is the knight in shining armor that is coming to rescue Sheila. I mean, the clues are there already.
Okay, we've been trying to reach you.
Yeah, Mike turned my cell phone off.
Some time has passed and Sheila has called her good girlfriends. She's called Angela, Diane, and Patricia and is letting them know, what's up with her.
Sheila, honey, do you need some money?
Angela, I'm fine.
Presumably, this is the first time she's called them. And, she says, she hasn't been able to call because Mike has turned her cell phone off. And so she explains to them that she got a job in a general store. And all of their reactions is like, a general store?
I got a job in a general store.
A general store?
Bruh, so she say, Mike turned my cell phone off, her cell phone off, right? So they can't contact her. And then she says, Angela, I'm fine, but your cell phone is off. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then she talk about, I'm working at a general store. That was her saying that she's fine. And then she say, don't ask. So you're really not fine. And all of this stuff they're talking about, she's not fine. But I got to do stuff on my own now.
Right.
Patricia said, hey, you could come live with us.
Do you need a place to stay?
You can live with us. No, Patricia.
She's like, no, I spent too much time letting other people take care of me. I got to do this on my own.
Man, if you're your husband.
I spent too much time letting other people take care of me.
But anyway, you can live with someone and then do stuff on your own.
Or you could become independent and accept other help some help. Like, it's not that she's
Yeah.
saying somebody's going to scoop her up and take care of her entire life, but
Forever,
simply
right? Yeah.
just, you know, could she set her pride aside? Because to me, a lot of this is the pride. She doesn't even want to say where she is. Like, it's a secret.
Gotta find my own way.
Where are you?
Just know I'm fine, Diane.
I'm okay. Just know that I'm fine. I absolutely hate this aspect, this scene, this whole
And
thing.
Who was that who said, I'm really proud of you?
I gotta do this on my own. I'm really proud of you, Sheila.
Somebody was like, I'm really proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? Only the fact that she left the husband? Well, she kind of got left.
Or
that I'm an independent woman now.
right. And we did sort of touch on a little bit this idea of how perhaps the other women in the group perceived Sheila, with Sheila being the stay-at-home wife, right? While they all are career women. And so now they're like, oh, look, Sheila's, you know, working a job now and she's taking care. I'm so proud of you. Look at you moving on with your life. And to me, that's like part of the implied and perhaps unspoken aspect of the way the other women viewed Sheila's role and how she was with her husband, Mike. So all we know at this point is she says she's working in a general store and she doesn't want to accept any help from her friends, but she does express that she loves them and they say they love her too and stuff.
I love you, babe.
Sheila, I'm so sorry.
I'll be all right.
Honey, I love you, okay?
That she's going to be all right. And I mean, presumably she looks warm, housed, and clothed and sheltered. So, I mean, as far as basic needs, it seems like she's, quote, okay.
I don't know, but if I'm talking to somebody who I've known for a long while and they like, yeah, my cell phone off, I'm working at some place that's beneath my experience level or whatever, or even class level, because the way when she said whatever, what type of store was it?
General store.
A general store, their reaction was like, whoa, what are you doing there, right? Then I'm thinking like, wait, no, ain't no just, yeah, everything's fine. We need to do some more prying to see what's going on with you.
Yeah, so the question,
to make sure you're okay.
and I feel like, I don't know, it's a tough one because there were a lot of people who made comments like even about the whole relationship with Mike and whether her friends should have been, you know, involving themselves in telling her that Mike was cheating and stuff like that. And I feel like there is a line which can be kind of gray on how far do you probe in somebody else's life and in their business. But at the same time, if I care about you, it's going to be hard for me to not know where you are, you claiming you're okay, and then you know, and I want to know you're okay. I don't want to hear the lip service.
And if somebody is my friend and they're asking me stuff that seems probing, because I would recognize, oh, they're worried about me. I wouldn't feel like, oh, they're being bad people. You know, you have to recognize what friendship is.
Right.
Which is part of it, right? Even if, oh, she's not ready to know about her husband, but somebody tells you, it ain't like they're trying to cause harm to you. They're trying to be a friend.
Right. And I think it also involves a level of being vulnerable, right? You know, to me, a real friend, somebody who's really close to you in your life, is someone who you can let the guards down with. But it seems that her guards are, you know, up. But this is, to me, a side effect of, and we talked about in the last video, toxic positivity. You know, it's like we saw how Sheila was always trying to be smiling and upbeat. You know, doggone well, everything was jacked up in your situation and you're trying to present this face of everything is okay. And she's doing kind of a similar thing here because her life is still kind of upside down, even though she's getting on a track of kind of figuring things out. She didn't let her friends in. At the end of that call, we see her tell Diane, she's like, tell Terry, your husband, I said happy birthday. And Diane is like, wait a minute, that's today?
Diane, tell Terry I said happy birthday, okay?
Oh my God, is that today?
Sheila is so caring that she remembers in the midst of her own stuff that it is actually Terry's birthday, her friend's husband's birthday. And she remembers it even over her friend remembering her own husband's birthday. So I think that's supposed to speak something about how caring and everything that Sheila is as a person, you know, and she seemed like a genuinely kind and caring person. I just wish that she would have utilized her resources better, you know, in this situation. Let your friends be your friend. After Sheila hangs up the phone, we see Sheriff Troy carrying boxes into this general store.
Hey.
Hey,
It's not long before we understand that Sheila is working at Sheriff Troy's general store.
Thanks for getting me this job.
You kidding me?
And Troy tells us basically the store wouldn't even be open.
If it wasn't for you, this place wouldn't even be open again.
It was his father who has passed on, his father's dream to kind of get that store back open and up and running.
You know, my daddy loved this store. It's his lifelong dream, this place.
And because of the work that Sheila's been able to put in, he's able to kind of continue his family legacy with the general store. And so Sheila has been very helpful in that way. So we see immediately that Sheriff Troy's, quote, help or his solution for her to be able to stay wasn't just charity, right? He's getting something out of it as well, because now his family legacy is be able to continue on, because of course, if he's working as the sheriff and doing all this other stuff, he wouldn't be able to, work the general store and everything like that. So it's a win-win for both of them.
Yeah, but how did they do all this? Did they get all this inventory since she been there and all of this?
Yeah, I mean, so maybe some time has passed, right? Like I'm thinking a couple months, like she might have been there for a month or two or some weeks even, right? She could have gotten there and been like, oh, look at this dusty store. Let's start ordering things, or let's whatever, And, we know she knows how to shop, and, she is probably has done a lot of shopping along the way. So, yeah. So I think that between the two of them, they got the store together over a matter of weeks or maybe a few months even. But then something interesting happens. Finally, and I say finally, but it's probably at just the right time. Finally, Sheila really notices Sheriff Troy, and she gets to see him, and she realizes that she is attracted to him. Let me just jump in here and let you guys know that if you are not a member on Axiom.app, Patreon, or on YouTube, you are missing out on over 100 exclusive members-only videos, plus other perks like early access to some videos, your name listed as a contributor in videos, and more. So join today for as little as $5 a month, and it's a great way to support the channel. The links are in the description. So, he starts talking and she's looking at him as he's all sweaty from working out and whatever. We're hearing this song.
It's Marvin Gaye's I Want You.
And it's playing in the background, and she's kind of like, we're seeing close-ups of his body. Now, one funny thing is, I don't know why they did this weird close-up of his neck. And I'm like, why is the nape of his neck? Why are you showing me that? Usually it would be like, oh, let's focus on, his muscles, his arms, his chest, his smile, whatever. But like they focused on the nape of his neck. It was just like a weird cutscene. But anyway, so she's seeing him really for the first time in this light, right?
You're putting in a lot of time in this place, getting it reopened and all.
Because we talked about in the previous video how when somebody is really hyper focused on their mate, many times they don't see other people. When she first met Sheriff Troy in the police station, when she was going up that mountain to try to save her marriage, like she didn't see him as a man. She just saw him as a guy out there, but she didn't see him as some like potential romantic interest. She wasn't like, ooh, honey, he's so fine. Like she acknowledged it for the sake of trying to hook him up with Trina, but not like, in his own right for her, right? And so she starts like realizing like, look at him. This man is fine. And starts to feel like she kind of likes him.
Oh. You work out every day?
Not every day.
And so then she makes this suggestion, right? And because he's just been finished exercising. And she's like, maybe, I should go to the gym with you,
I should go with you sometime.
You might actually enjoy it. Keeps the stress down.
And then she does some more self-deprecation and, is like, oh, I couldn't run from here to wherever.
I couldn't run from here to that door.
So in other words, she's like, she's out of shape. And he's like, well, listen, maybe we can just start by walking. You want to do that? And she said, no.
Maybe we can start walking first if you want to.
No.
She says no. Again, we go back into more of the Marvin Gaye song blaring and her being completely distracted. This really sort of reminds me of how Gloria's character in Waiting to Exhale meets Marvin for the first time. And it's like his voice just fades to the background and she's just obsessed with, him being a fine man.
Yeah, well, my wife was a big woman. I like a woman with a little meat on her bones,
In the middle of him talking, it's like she just loses all of her hearing. She is inhaling this man, and she like legit exhales in the middle. Like she goes into a trance and then she exhales. She's just like, in the middle of them having this conversation. It's a lot like that in this scene. But anyway, he asks her to the movies, and he's like, I want you.
Sheila.
What do you say?
You want to go to the movies, like go to the movies.
Movies. Have some fun. You want to go?
Okay.
And then she says yes.
Okay.
Now we get the sense that this is a budding, perhaps romantic relationship. Do you think that Sheriff Troy was interested in her at this point?
Well, if he asked her out, probably.
Or was it like, we're just friends? I'm trying to just be your friend. I'm trying to be a good friend.
No, because he could introduce her to women who's in the town who he know.
That's a good point. Somebody
Right.
to be like
And
friend companions.
With the store, he could have hired somebody, a local.
Hmm.
So why was the store down until she got here?
Well,
It's just bad.
bad writing.
Yeah, it's just bad. It's just very convenient for the story. Just like the idea that she has to stay there. It's only there so that she can have this relationship with this sheriff who is basically somebody who is way states away. So she got to stay here so that she could get to know him and get with him for the sake of the story. That's the only reason any of this happens.
Huh. Well, and I guess it would be weird if somehow she had means and then she was able to get her own apartment and move away from Mike back in her hometown or wherever she was living. And then Sheriff Troy is like taking flights out to see her or something. Like,
in
I
some
don't think it would
movies,
have happened.
Like I think it was the series The Best Man,
Uh-huh.
where it was one of the ladies who was at this resort or wherever they were, and then he saw her at some other place. You know what I'm saying? Just randomly. What are you doing here?
Oh,
Get outta here.
yeah. It's just like, they got to have a way for the characters to meet. And I think, when you talk about it, because, I mean, we are sort of doing film criticism here, right? When you talk about it, there's got to be a way for them to interact with each other that doesn't seem like it's so crazy and weird. And I guess
And
this
it
really
can't
was
be.
the most convenient.
Yeah, and it can't be they're married still, even though they do that often.
Mm-hmm.
Where the people are married and it's supposed to be, even though they're married, the spouse is bad, so it's okay that they're cheating.
Right.
And get into this other relationship and leave their marriage.
Right.
But they have to make a way where it's okay for them to have a relationship.
Well, I like that this was more smooth and it left Sheila's dignity intact and it didn't make her stoop to like a lower level of being like, I'm going to get involved with this before I'm done with my husband all the way. Clearly it's like the ties are cut. I would imagine that the divorce is either final or soon to be very final, so she's not in any gray area, I don't think. But yeah, it was quite convenient that she could work at his store. She could, he took care of her.
I really love your dad's place.
Sheila and Mike have apparently been working out and now they're at this diner. They're both dressed out in their workout clothes and whatnot. And Sheila's like, I love your dad's place.
But I gotta pay you back.
So we also find out another tidbit of information that Sheila has been staying at Troy's father's place, which is the place where they were staying for their couples retreat. Hello, that's a nice house.
Nice.
Sheila's been staying there like...
Is that his place?
Yeah.
Or did he just own that place in addition to where he called home?
Well, I don't know, but I think he was saying that he was living there. That was my understanding, is that is the house the father lived in before, died or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty nice.
But she's like, I got to pay you back. So she's been living there. He let her live there without paying rent. And then look, think about it. He was renting that place. So he's losing money by her being able to stay there.
He know what he's paying you. You can't pay him back.
His mind wasn't on getting paid back either because he refuses payment. He's like, nah, don't worry about it.
I do.
Nah, it's all good. Don't even sweat that.
How does she plan on paying him back?
She was going to take
people
her.
just be saying stuff, man. You can't pay that man back.
Well, it would be really hard. It would be because, even if she's getting like just a reasonable wage, like what his lost rent would be a lot of money if it's that place that they were staying, because that was a nice cabin.
Yeah.
So he refuses the payment. And then, so Sheila's complaining about her legs being sore from the workout.
My leg's supposed to be this sore.
And he's all like, hey, no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain, right?
Then she stops the conversation. She's like, look, I got to tell you something. I'm really vulnerable right now. And she tells him basically that she doesn't want to hang out with him.
I'm really vulnerable. We can't go to the movies and hang out and stuff.
Because she doesn't want to get caught up. She references this hero syndrome that Dr. Patricia, her friend, and other people, and I think Dr. Phil, she says,
I don't want to get caught up in the hero syndrome.
that basically somebody who's trying to be nice to you and do nice things for you, that you fall for them because you're vulnerable because they've done something nice when they're really not into you like that.
It's when somebody comes along and they help you out, and just because they were being nice, you fall for them.
And so then Sheriff Troy is all like, well, I could have this same hero syndrome for you too.
I could have this same hero thing going on with you too.
Then he goes into what I think is a very unrealistic sort of monologue for a man to say to a woman in this situation. And he goes on, this man was trying to break you, but every day I see you take some of that power back.
This man was trying to break you. Every day I see you take some of that power back.
Tells her how, great she is and beautiful and all of this and sexy and so on.
I mean, Sheila, you are an amazing, intelligent, spiritual, sexy, strong, and beautiful woman.
Right. And I'm like, no, I don't think a man would have said this to her. I
Why
don't think
not?
a man in that position.
If he's trying to get with her, that's it's clear he's trying to get with her.
Yeah, but I don't think he's like the slick talking type. To me, that's like maybe something the slick talking, manipulative
He
type
still
of guy
got to
would have
convince
said.
her. It don't matter if slick talk or not. You got to convince her. That's just how it goes.
Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like this is something your girlfriend would have said to you. Girl, he tried to break you, but you strong and we got you. But, but this is this guy saying it. And I felt like that was a little bit weird and unrealistic.
They don't have the conversations with the girlfriend. So whoever wrote it, Tyler Perry, wanted this to be said. So it had to come out of some character, and it came out of this guy.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I think it could have been better if maybe she just called her friend and we saw them say that on the phone.
Like in film, you do it symbolically. You don't have to always say the thing, right? You may feel like, oh, she's been broken and now she's making these strides, right? That's an idea that you convey through, the film making itself, instead of a character having to say everything that you want to convey.
Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the things that the dialogue is supposed to serve for. Well-written dialogue would serve to advance the plot and give information that you want people to know. That's part of the purpose, right, of having the dialogue. But I think they could have shown us some things too. They could have shown her working out or, like other things that, like you said, symbolically could have.
They could have showed her in the hotel room, right, down, right, laying down, walking around with her head down, kind of like Pootie Tang was after he lost his belt, walking all down like that, right? And it symbolizes her being down. And then it shows her working out and she's still weak and stuff. And then she's getting stronger. And then it builds up to this point where they have this conversation and he don't have to say all that stuff because he's symbolically built her up. And then it just bam, blow up with this kiss.
Yeah.
That's how, if I was making a movie, I would kind of try to make it.
Right. And so she is doubtful of what he's saying in this moment. And she's like, I didn't do anything. All I did is basically sign these divorce papers. And then he's like, sometimes that's all the fighting you got to do is sign the papers. Like, in other words, sometimes that's all you got to do is let it go.
I just signed the papers. I didn't even fight.
Sometimes signing the papers is all the fighting you need to do.
I think that is a good lesson. Like, that's a hell of a statement though, actually, because sometimes in life when things happen, we want to fight, right? Or we think we should be fighting when at the end of the day, sometimes peace is the better option. Just let that junk go and move on to what's next for you in your life. And, but while you caught up in the fighting, you can't move on, but I'm reading a lot into that, but I like that line that, that he says. But she's still doubtful, right? She's like, don't play with me.
Don't play with me.
I'm not playing with you.
And that's when he comes and he's like, I'm not playing with you. So he gets frustrated with Sheila in this this is the
Why did
first.
she say don't play with me like that though?
She's like,
It's
don't
just
play
the
with
way
me
she
because she
said it,
think he
like,
running lines,
bruh.
you know. And
Well, according to you, he was.
well, no, according to you, he was. I felt like it wasn't the best, like
Exactly. It's like,
dialogue.
you say a
but-
man wouldn't say this, right? So yeah, it's
Well.
a dude just running lines.
But I don't think that's who the character is.
Oh,
And that's
okay.
the part where I feel like that's why his little monologue part earlier should have just been taken out. So she's like, don't play with me. And then he comes back and he's mad. You know, he's like salty with her. And we haven't really seen him salty. We've only seen Sheriff Troy calm and willing to solve problems and caring, right? And compassionate. We have not seen him be upset with her. This is it. He's starting to get annoyed. And he's like, you know, Sheila, you're amazing. You're sexy. You're intelligent. You're strong. You know, he's giving her all of this fill up, right? And then she goes, not big as I am.
Not as big as I am.
This is almost like the exact same scene from Gloria and Waiting to Exhale, right? Where she's
The whole time they were looking each other up and down and stuff, but then she was like, "Would you like to have dinner with us tonight?"
And he declines, right? And when he declines dinner, she feels rejected. And what does she do? She insults herself. You know, I don't need to be eating this as big as I am, right?
To be honest, I don't have no business eating it myself, big as I am.
But when she recounts the dinner, she's like, it ain't nothing, just a little leftovers. She names off like basically a Thanksgiving spread. She's
Collard greens, some cornbread, some candied yams, a little potato salad, fried chicken, peach cobbler, fruit slices of ham.
You know, she insults herself. But then he's like, well, you know, I like a woman with a little meat on her bones, basically, you know, making the reference that his wife was a larger woman. You know, again, back to the self-deprecation. And I'm not going to beat her up too much for it because this is what Mike has been telling her. So, you know, when a person has been almost brainwashed in a way with the negative stuff about themselves, then I think that, you know, that's what it is. And we get some insight, but not before Sheriff Troy got to get her straight, because he finally kind of snaps on her and he's like, you know, basically stop downing yourself. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable for you.
Stop downing yourself. I mean, it's not attractive. I don't like it. And that makes me uncomfortable for you.
If you don't like how you look, do something about it.
You know, if you're not happy about the way you look, then change it.
And the first thing she does, she's like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
The first thing I think is he's wrong. That's a terrible line.
Which
And
part?
if you're not happy about the way you look, then change it. What you mean?
Well, see, when it's weight, it's one thing. Perhaps you can change it.
Maybe, but it ain't about whether or not you can change it. It's what it actually signifies, right? Some things can't be changed. So what do you mean if you don't like how you look? A lot of people don't like to be dark skinned. So what they start doing, bleaching. And then we're not going to get into that because everybody, this your choice. You get to do what you want. But, you know, to each his own.
That's a really good point.
But to me, it's a terrible line that just shows the degradation of humanity.
It begs this idea of whether or not we should be, you know, trying to have our outsides match our insides.
Match.
Or whether or not our outsides are just our outsides,
And
right?
the importance of that, right?
You know, because we live in a world where everything is like kind of phony and fake and, you know, plastic surgeries and all the things that people do to alter themselves.
Remember that thing you showed me of that guy who made himself taller?
Yes.
Bruh. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, like if you're
why?
short now, you can get tall. If you feel like you're too dark, you can get lighter. If your nose is too wide, in your opinion, you can get a nose
hack
job.
it up and make it look bad.
You know,
but
and
you make your face look worse than it already is.
Yeah, I mean, we need only look as far as many of these celebrities to see like what the deal is. Even something that people look at and view as harmless, and I'm gonna go here and say it, but like even like these lace wigs that everybody is wearing and stuff. It's a tough one.
I think it's normalizing the look, right? Because when you wear the hair that's not like black people's hair, to me, it looks fake. And it don't look good because it looks fake. So when it's normalized, then it's normal to have the fake look, which is why people have a problem with people with their natural hair, as if that is the not correct or the standard look.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look good, but the fake look looks good. But to me, it's just looks fake and not good.
Yeah. And
Like-
it's hard because, you know, it's tough because people will push back. You know, we don't get to police what other people look like. And that's very true enough. You know,
yeah, you don't get to police, but
people can do what they want to do, but
I
there's
can
another
have
flip
thoughts
side
about it,
to
right?
that.
It's the same way
Yeah.
as if you're not happy about the way you look, then change it. Then if I'm not happy about the way people look, then I don't have to act like I like it
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
And it's not me saying that you need to change what you're doing. It's just like, well, to me, this doesn't look like real hair. And if you think you were wearing a wig look like real hair to you, that's good. But to me, it don't look like it's your real hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that simple. It's
Yeah.
not saying do something different.
Personally, it's not saying for me personally that I'm like completely anti any sort of fake hair or anything like that. I'm not, you know, there are lots of different styles that people you know, can wear and whatever. And in my life, I have worn like every style.
Yeah.
Long, short, weaves, even lace wigs. Child, I was wearing lace wigs before they came to your local beauty shop. When I
Yeah.
first started, I actually had a business selling them back in the day, selling them for women who had hair loss issues and stuff, going through chemo and everything like that. And then even women who just wanted them for fashion. But mostly it was people who had like alopecia and hair loss issues and things who were
Yeah.
buying the wigs because they were very, very expensive at that point, like, you know, between $700 to $1,000. And they were being ordered, you know, kind of straight from Asia at that point. Like back when Beyonce was first wearing them, not like now. We're talking about around the time of this movie, you know, a little before that, maybe like 2005 time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at what point does changing what you look like become enough, right? Oh, I don't like my hair, I change it. I don't like my color, I change it. I don't like my eyelashes, I change it. I don't like my eyebrows, I don't like my nose, I don't like my lips, I don't like my cheeks, I don't like my forehead, I don't like my boobs, I don't like my butt, I don't like my legs, I don't like my feet, I don't like my nose again, I don't like my eyelashes, I don't like my hair, I don't like my forehead, I don't like my cheeks, I don't like my arms. Like,
Well, I think that there is that it depends, right? On the one hand, if you just feel like you have this one bothersome thing, then you feel like getting that thing, quote, fixed would help you feel better and have more self-confidence or not be an issue, you know, then maybe it ends there. But
Maybe.
you know, maybe it's just this one thing that bothers you and you get it fixed or whatever, you know, like, I don't know, maybe if you had a weird mole somewhere or, you know, something that
Yeah,
becomes a
but-
topic of conversation and then that's addressed and then you can move on with your life. But then with some people, I think it does become addicting. It's this attempt at perfection, but then what is the standard of what is perfect, you know?
and then a lot of it is just trendy
Yeah.
stuff too.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you see
remember
like
to
people are starting
cut
to
off my
take-
eyebrows and tattoo on these little skinny eyebrows back in the day, right?
But see, the thing about eyebrows and lashes and the temporary alterations is that when thicker eyebrows become in, hopefully you still got some brows left.
some people tattoo the thick ones on, right? So see, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, but that's what I was getting to. But when you make these permanent changes, when you make your body, you know, shaped a certain way, or you get, you know, a really like wild, you know, hip to waist ratio, and you're doing all of these other types of more permanent alterations, then that presents a bigger issue. You know, not only a health issue in a lot of cases, but then also what do you do when it's not in anymore? I mean, because you
And then-
see, even a lot of the women who were getting like some of the silicone implants and all sorts of stuff, like they start taking that stuff out at some point.
Yeah, you know, it's just the sign of the times. But I don't think it's going to change because just like with this movie, you know, if you're not happy with the way you look, then change it. That it's just become commonplace because it used to be a secret, right? Oh, everyone's denying their nose jobs and their body work and even wearing weave.
Yeah.
You know, oh, this is my real hair.
Yeah, that's true.
Back in the day to now, like, dang, you had the best wig on the block.
Yeah, I mean, but at least the transparency, I think, is a good thing because you're not trying to perpetrate. But, you know, there and let me just
Well-
say, because we talked about wigs a lot here, there are a lot of times in history where, you know, like think about powdered wigs and how,
Bruh.
you know, people were wearing powdered wigs back in the day. That junk did not look real. That was just part of the
I thought
the
it was,
fashion at the
they
time.
was covering up STDs.
And they were covering up STDs, going bald, and having lice. Okay. So it served a purpose. But the point is, you know, there were people sitting up there with these crazy looking powder wigs that, you know, doggone well did not look real. And then not to even, this is a woman that we're talking about in this situation, but like even like men are even into it at this point.
Oh,
You
bruh,
got
with the
men, it used to
beards.
be the wigs, the toupees. Now you got men with the lace front beards, and you got them, you know, spraying on their hairlines and things like that. Men who are, you know, getting alterations and plastic surgeries because they want to get rid of the pot belly or whatever, you know. So it's not just women. It's men too, but I do think that there is a unique type of pressure that is on women that is more than men as far as the physical appeal.
Where does it end?
It never ends. Look at it.
No,
Look at
but
things now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like as a society, right? It starts off, hey, we wear some weave or whatever, and maybe braids, right?
Yeah.
Extensions. To now, it's you had. And it was rich people who were doing certain things, right?
Yeah.
Now it's, hey, go get your fillers and and then it just compounds. It's more and more stuff to tax on to all the other things you really have to worry about. Now we got our cosmetic surgery bills to add. It's like
crazy.
Yeah.
But
that's what I think of when I hear that line. It's so much wrapped into it, but they say it like it's this great thing. Just generally, right? Then just change it. Like it's just nothing to think about. It's just universally correct.
Well, and we have to keep in mind that all the dialogue is doing in these movies is pushing certain viewpoints and positions, you know, that real people have, right? That they want to get across in these movies.
Intentional or unintentional.
Mm-hmm. In response to that, she's like, I'm sorry. I'm so used to Mike saying things that I would just try to beat him to.
Sorry. I'm just so used to Mike saying things. I try to beat him to it.
So if I down myself, then, you know, the blow is less when you come behind me and try to down me when I've already acknowledged that whatever this physical limitation as far as Mike is viewing it is, right?
Yeah, and he says, I ain't Mike.
I ain't Mike.
Ooh, that was like one of the best lines.
Bruh.
Listen, I'm susceptible because like I just like Troy as the hero in this, and he's saying most of the right things. Tyler Perry got some of these lines wrong, but in this case, I ain't Mike. And that's the other thing I think people have to realize when they deal with other people, because no matter what, and I'm not just romantically, when we have trauma in our lives and trauma that was maybe caused and done by a particular person, then it's like you want to be guarded against every person, like every person is the one to do that. And that's just not the case.
Did she realize Mike wasn't good? Because up until the blow up with Trina, she was just totally in love with this guy, Mike, right? So saying I ain't Mike, is it, well, how does she really view Mike?
Well,
because we don't get any insight into how
she hated Mike now, right? But before,
up to
that point,
stuff.
I think that she felt so invested in Mike throughout all of these years. I thought that if I gave him what he wanted, he would give me what I needed and all of these things.
But not that she liked Mike.
But I mean, you know, I don't think she even let herself ask that question. Do you know what I'm saying? She stayed away from anything that might make her decide to get rid of Mike. I mean, and we asked folks who were the viewers whether you thought Sheila would ever leave Mike. Most people said that they didn't think that she would. And the ones who did say that they thought that she would leave felt like, oh, it would have happened maybe in time and she would have to come to these things. But most people didn't think that she was going to ever leave him. And funny enough, most people, when asked the reverse question, whether Mike would ever leave Sheila, most of the people didn't think that he would actually leave her too. It would just be that he was just going to torture her, keep her being the maid and everything else. And it just be stepping out on her all the time.
It's all because of Angela.
So Angela is why they broke up. No, I'm just kidding. That's not how I really feel. But anyway.
No, it is because she had to expose what was going on. Otherwise, Sheila would have never seen it and he would never said anything.
I guess that's probably true. But I guess the question I was asking, was it bad, or was it a bad thing for it to be exposed, or was it a bad thing for them to break up? And, you know, looking at this, I mean, the way Mike was treating her and was so abusive, of course it wasn't a bad thing. She needed to get rid of him. And I was glad to see Mike go. So he's like, I ain't Mike.
Yeah.
And then he leans in and kisses her. This like, I
don't like the cinematography of it because he had to stand up, lean over the table, and take all this time.
It was weird. It was kind of awkward, but still it was good because it was awkward in a way too. Because the whole thing was awkward. They had this uncomfortable conversation and it was awkward.
And
but
then out of nowhere, he just leaned over
he
this
just
table.
leaned because he had to communicate something. He had to communicate, hey, I ain't Mike. I'm going to be loving. I'm going to be affectionate to you. You know, and we find out because she's like, ooh, she's totally flustered after that kiss. She's like, I ain't felt that in a long time.
Oh, Jesus.
And her first instinct is like, I need to pray because the hot flames of love that are rising up in her at this point, she probably is ready to go to the bedroom.
I ain't felt that in a long time. I think I need to pray.
And she's like, I got to get this under control, you know. And she's like, I need to pray. You want to pray with me or whatever? And he's just looking at her like she crazy. He like, all right.
Can we pray?
All right.
But I think that he needed to communicate his interest outright, you know, as opposed to it just being, hey, let's go hang out and whatever. Because basically she was having this sort of, not a breakup conversation, but like a give me space conversation. Hey, we can't be hanging out. I'm just telling you. And he didn't accept that, actually. He said, well, I better, you know, take my chance while I can get it. And, you know, so he expressed what he had to say. And then he expressed what he had to express physically. And, well, that was enough. If you are watching this video, chances are Tyler Perry has you hooked, whether you love his films, love to hate them, or just can't resist them as a guilty pleasure. But here's what you might not know. We have already gone deep into Tyler Perry land. We've got entire playlists breaking down his stories, his characters, and all the drama you can't stop talking about. So don't miss out. Hit the description for links to the Ultimate Why Did I Get Married playlist and the Ultimate Tyler Perry playlist. And trust me, you're going to want to binge these and share them with your friends.
I know your bald-headed ass did not bring her up in here.
So they're at an award banquet for Dr. Patricia. Mike shows up with Trina, and it's very weird.
His side chick, his mistress turned main chick.
Yeah. And then Angela's like, why did you bring her? I'm thinking the same thing. Why'd you bring her? But I guess that's
his woman now.
That's your woman now. But are you there to support Gavin?
He's there to support Patricia.
Patricia,
right?
His friend, I guess.
You know, he was invited and he's going to show up. And plus,
he was probably invited when he was with Sheila.
Yeah, he was. And you know, Mike's personality is the type of personality where he is gonna, you know, try to throw a monkey wrench. Quite frankly, you shouldn't have showed up at all after you threw a bomb on everybody's marriage. Like, bro, you should be exiled. You shouldn't even be allowed to come around at all.
And they all just cordial and stuff. And then you have Diane, after Angela asked that, telling her to settle down because Angela asked, why did you bring her?
I did.
All right, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trina asked the men, how are things, right?
So, how you guys been doing?
We're good. How have you been? Good.
Great.
Good.
You was at the table when this dude done this stuff. Like, why
You're
is he
just
here?
being polite. It is like middle class, upper middle class phoniness. It's just
yeah,
phony.
But you're not required to be in the mix.
Trina was always getting in the mix, trying to, you know, say something. But in this case,
about Mike being in the mix.
Well, okay. So in this case, I think we're seeing the same thing happen. Now Mike is like, okay, I'm bringing my woman now, accept my woman into the fold of this, you know, multi-couple friendship, right?
Yeah, but why? Because I ain't even...
He ain't got no other friends, really.
Well, you ain't my friend after what happened at the dinner.
Go to the comments and tell us, look, after what happened at that dinner, if you're a guy and Mike is your friend or was your friend before that, after he bust out your marriage and told your personal secrets out in front of everybody, is Mike still your friend? Like, can Mike show up at this banquet? I don't even know how he could show up.
With the side chick.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh.
But then we get an indication that, you know, all is not well in paradise between Trina and Mike, because when she's like, oh, I got to, you know, go to the ladies' room or whatever. So
Good. You look good.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to go to the ladies' room and freshen up. Okay?
All right.
she's leaving the group. And then he leans over to try to kiss her and she rejects it. And she's like, lipstick, you know, or whatever.
Oh, lipstick.
So now she is not like into Mike. Like, she's giving back Mike some of the I'm not really attracted to you situation. that Mike used to be giving to Sheila, right? Except she's just not saying it out loud, but she didn't give him the kiss, so she wouldn't allow that. My makeup might get messed up, ooh, you know. And so, yeah.
Lipstick, don't kiss me.
Oh, stop.
The guys make fun of Mike, you know, about the fact that Trina wouldn't give him a kiss in the makeup thing.
Sheila?
But then we see that Trina and Sheila have a chance meeting in the bathroom, and Trina cannot believe her eyes. She sees that Sheila has glowed up, is looking great, and all she could do is like shake her head and be like, "You look amazing."
Trina, you look amazing.
Sheila is like, "Well, you know, I wondered what I would do when I saw you next."
How are you? I feel amazing.
And then she goes through her list of options or whatever.
I wonder what I would do when I saw you again. If I would cuss you out or...
And it kind of made me chuckle when she was brought up, you know, like, whoop that ass.
Stomp you in the street, whoop that ass.
I thought she was going to say, whoop that trick. Get him.
Shut up.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Get him. Whoop that trick. Get him.
Talking about that reference from Hustle and Flow. But Sheila says, amazingly, all I want to do is pray for you.
And amazingly, all I want to do is pray for you.
So she doesn't want to, you know, just fight her on sight. But she does say, but, you know, basically don't tempt me. Stay away from the wine bottles, referencing when she knocked Mike over the head with a wine bottle.
But don't tempt me. Stay away from the wine bottles, okay?
Yeah. What did you think about her response to Trina?
Sheila's response?
Yeah, Sheila's response to Trina.
Have a good evening.
I guess you have to have the confrontation, but it's one of those things where it doesn't really advance. It's just to, I guess, give the audience something, right? And to kind of say that, you know, I guess to push the religion, right? That,
And that
hey,
Sheila
she's
took
just
the
gonna
high
pray.
road.
Yeah,
she
she's
turned
just gonna
the other
pray
cheek.
for her.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you know, I'm still a little ratchet, so stay
I'ma
away
just
from the
say-
wine bottles.
Yeah, you know, I felt like, did this give the audience what the audience wanted? I think the audience would have wanted to see her knock Trina out. But I think there was another
Well-
compromise that wasn't had here, you know? And that is that there were some things that needed to be said, and they weren't said. So, but instead it was just dismissed. I'm letting it ride. The thing that needed to be said was, to me, the confrontation about the fact that you pretended to be my friend and you were sleeping with my husband. Like, something should have been spoken on that. And I don't feel
Well-
like it really, really was.
I don't think it would do anything. So does it really need to be said?
Oh my gosh. You know, that's a conversation that I always have with people, is because I feel like I just need to say it. I need to say it. I need to get it off my chest. And then, but just like what you said, is it going to do anything? What is it going to do? It's going to get it off my chest. That's what it's going to do. Yeah, but I mean, that's a very valid position. And I vacillate between, you know, whether to just not say anything at all or get it off my chest. But in this moment, I felt like, man, Sheila deserved to be able to say a little bit more, but maybe it would have gone grimy. Maybe there was no way to say more and not have it get gully in the process. But I like to believe there maybe could have been a way. And by the way, the other thing is that in this film, Jill Scott, up to this point, playing Sheila, had been wearing a fat suit. Yeah.
Sheriff? Yo, what you doing here?
Mike runs into Troy and he's like, hey, Sheriff Troy, what are you doing here? And
Well, we came to support Patricia on her big night.
Troy's just like, yeah, we came here to support Patricia, you know. We? Is how Mike responded.
We? Who's we?
Me and my wife.
And then Troy like, yeah, me and my wife. And then out of nowhere, here comes Sheila coming out of the bathroom looking much smaller than when Mike last seen her.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Boom. She done came out all glowed up.
With her bosoms posted up.
That bra is doing his job.
Sheila?
Hello, Mike.
Sheila gets to have her moment of revenge, so to speak, right? She's looking good with her husband, her new man.
Which way is it?
You look beautiful.
And Mike is just standing there looking like a fool. He say, my wife.
Bruh.
You know, but here's a question that I have. Could Sheila have not lost the weight, stayed her same size, been dressed up, had her husband, had her man, and come out and it been just as powerful a moment? I think yes.
It would if Mike ain't happy, right? That's what all it would have to be.
Yep.
And when they make these decisions in movies and stories, then it's indicating something too.
That you need to be thinner, that you need to be, I mean, and it's not like she got to be, you know, a toothpick all of a sudden, right? She still is a plus size woman and a curvy woman.
Yeah, and I guess we'll hear Troy speak more to that too.
Mm-hmm.
Divas.
Troy and Sheila walk into this room where I think the women are, I don't know, printing
like a
up, getting
room
dressed.
Or whatever. Yeah.
She brought this man up in there, but and she says, "Hey, divas," and
What happened?
then they like, "Oh, look, it's our old friend who we haven't seen in forever."
Oh my God.
But they don't mention her weight loss.
Well, they don't mention it because it's all on their face. They're like, "Oh my God, look at you." They were all surprised that she looked as good as she looked.
We were worried about you, you know.
I'm fine.
And I see people or men I haven't seen in a long time. I always mention their weight.
Why?
I don't know. It's just how it is.
I don't
I'd
know.
be like,
Maybe
dang, you done gained a bunch of weight, bro.
Bruh. Okay, so like, let's just be clear. And we kind of had this conversation a little bit when we were talking about our Above the Rim review that we did on our other channel. By the way, we'll link that in the description in case you're interested in that breakdown. But where we were talking about things that guys say to other guys that women would not say to each other. A woman is not going to, when you walk up, at least somebody who is couth, is not going to sit up there and be like, girl, you gained a whole bunch of weight. You looking fat. You know, now if you lose weight, they might be like, oh my goodness, look at how much weight you've lost. But actually, these women are of a certain class and culture, except Angela. And you really wouldn't reference the weight, because what if she lost weight because she's undergoing some type of sickness or whatever? Again, that doesn't seem to be the indication here. But the point is, you don't reference person's weight or something like that. You know, it just is considered in poor taste to do such a thing. But they're clearly surprised. They say it on their face. Oh, you have this glow.
This glow.
You know, all of that.
What's this glow that I see happening here? I haven't seen that in a long time.
You know, Patricia's like, well, why do you have this glow? What's going on? And then you see Troy and he leans over and he's like nuzzling her ear and everything.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'd like to think I had something to do with it.
I like to think I had a little something to do with that.
Why is Cowboy? I always want to say Cowboy Troy.
Cowboy
Why
Troy.
is Sheriff Troy here?
Oh, hey, Troy.
How you doing, ladies?
What are you doing here?
Sheila?
And then,
You know, and then she has her like the color purple moment like Suge Avery when she tells her daddy, I was married now.
I was married now. I say I was married now.
She came in, she's like, I stayed in Colorado
I stayed in Colorado.
and we got married, and she shows her wedding ring. Okay.
I'm married now.
Get out.
The ring looks, it's huge. Troy has some money, clearly, some money. And she's got, you know, at least a 2 to 3 carat solitaire in the middle of all that. Now, granted, we know it's fake for the movie, but the point is the thing is huge. And I think that was on purpose, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Troy, you gotta go.
Get out.
You know, so now she's got more, like she has been given more than what she had when she was holding on to the raggedy man she was holding on to. Right now, she's
Dang.
got this loving, affectionate man that makes her glow. And now her friends are all happy to see her happy.
what did her ring look like before?
Oh, that's a good question. We have to go back. If I can, we can maybe put if we can get a close up of her ring before, and we can see what that looks like. But maybe, I don't know, he probably did a better job than Mike. Mike probably said, you only deserve this much because you're fat.
So did she sell it?
Sell her ring?
Yeah. What do you do with the old wedding ring?
It depends. If you have children, which they didn't, but if you have children, you might keep it for your children.
Wait. Oh, children of that.
Yeah, of that
parent.
marriage, right?
Okay,
you
what
might
if you
keep it for
don't?
them. If you don't have them, then I don't know, maybe you keep it in your jury box, or maybe you sell it. Look, I'm in favor of just get rid of it. Like, don't be holding on to bad juju. You know, so yeah.
And then they kick Troy out because he probably shouldn't have been in here.
Troy, get out. We need to speak to our friend so she can tell us what happened. All right. Bye.
He in the
To
ladies'
begin with.
dressing room and whatnot, and they want to have girl talk. They want to get the lowdown.
Yeah, they want to hear the nasty stuff.
Shut up.
You know, she looked really good. Did you? I missed it too. I'm sorry.
I said she looked good.
Good. Okay, she looked really good.
Right.
Back outside as they're waiting for the banquet to get started, Mike is saying that Sheila looks really good. You know, she looks really good as he's talking to Terry and Gavin, and they're like, "You said what? You said what?"
I haven't seen her in a while, so it was kind of, ooh. It was kind of surprising.
To see her. To see her what?
And he's like, not really wanting to admit that he thinks that Sheila looks good.
Yeah, I just haven't seen her in a while, that's all.
Mike is just hating and whatever, and then he goes on like, it was surprising that she looked like she looked, basically. And then Terry and Gavin are like, well, do you miss her?
You miss her?
What? Come on, man.
They're totally just trolling Mike at this point because they realize Mike is getting his comeuppance.
But where's Marcus?
I don't know. That's a
What
really
the-
good question.
Where is Marcus?
Arguing with Angela somewhere. Now Angela's in the room with the women. I don't know. Marcus is over to the side calling his baby mama behind Angela's back. I don't know. I do not know where Marcus is.
Yeah.
Boy. How you doing, guys? Hey, Sheriff.
But then Mike tries to slide her and just basically be like, what, did she get that gastric bypass?
So, she had that gastric bypass?
Because Sheriff Troy walks up.
Congratulate him. You know, him and Sheila got married.
Right.
And then, you know, he's all like, he married my ex.
He married my
Congratulations in
ex.
order. To you and
He
Sheila.
married my
To you.
ex.
And again, just being a straight up hater, you know, and the idea of her getting a gastric bypass is like to suggest that she didn't work to lose the weight, which anybody who has known people who've had any type of weight loss surgery understands that that is not the easy route. It's a lot of pain and you still got to work to, you know, lose and maintain that weight loss. But anyway, Sheriff Troy says to Mike, he's like, nah, we just worked out together.
No, we just worked out together.
And then Gavin and Terry are laughing again because they're like, you know what that means, implying that, you know, they did the horizontal mambo in order for her to lose weight.
You know what that means, right?
And Gavin and Terry also are like, you know, I can't wait to see her because they haven't seen Sheila's glow up yet.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see her. I want to see her too, man. I can't wait to see what working out will do for you.
But when Mike is talking about, you know, he married my ex or whatever, as trying to be a slight, Troy says, one man's ex is another man's treasure.
What now? I said he married my ex.
One man's ex can be another man's treasure.
What you think about that line?
It's lame.
And you know, earlier I stand corrected because I said one man's trash is another man's treasure. And that's actually the quote itself. But in the movie, it was slightly modified to one man's ex is another man's treasure. So in no way was I calling Sheila trash, just for, you know, the people in the comments who like to be caught up in the weeds.
Well,
but anyway,
she still would be Mike's trash.
that's what I think in a
That's
way.
how he treated her, like trash.
So two people, now we have Trina and Troy as the new two people who are brought into the fold, right? And I kind of wondered, like, what would be the dynamic between Trina and Troy when they saw each other at this thing too?
Huh. Well, they kind of were still strangers, so it's probably not
You
that
know,
big
but they
of a
were
deal.
flirting with each other. Trina probably gonna try to be pushing up on Troy, but Troy is
Yeah.
the type of man who wouldn't have it. But yeah, Troy is trying to, I don't know, he's being polite and kind of coming into the fold as part of this multi-couple friend group.
How does the bad blood work, right? If Mike don't act this way towards him, then how does Troy receive Mike, right? Because the issue really is between Mike and Sheila, not necessarily between Mike and Troy.
That's true, but guess what? If it's somebody who I love, then and you did them dirty and you continue, you know, you acting funny or whatever it went on, then we got an issue too.
Acting funny now is now. It's not before, right?
You
It's
mean-
just somebody's ex. Like, do you hold grudges against other people's exes?
If it was just,
you know what I'm
okay,
saying?
if it was a regular ex, I would say no, right? But this is an abusive ex. It's not like, oh, you know, we grew apart or this, or even if it was just like one cheating incident happened and they broke up because of that and they moved on with their lives, right? This is where he over a period of time, like abused her, cheated on her, embarrassed her in front of all her friends. Like, you know, the list of offenses that Mike committed was long. And then he continues. Well, you said if it didn't continue, if he was being cool. But even if Mike was being cool, it would be like, yeah, he got to get fed with a long handled spoon. I'm not going to be rude.
But the way you interact with him wouldn't be the same, right? Just this guy who's over here because the other people are here with him too.
Yeah.
And the other women.
Yeah, if Mike was just acting normal and not being a hater in this moment, it would just be like, hi and bye, okay. And then I just wouldn't have an interaction. Like when I come across people who are that way, who I know I don't F with them, then I'm still going to be cordial. I'm going to speak, but, you know, I'm not going to have a whole lot to say to them. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to make the situation awkward purposely. But if I don't F with you, I don't F with you, you know. But I don't know. Maybe, do you think that they could have become friends if Mike had been...
I think probably if you just don't bring up that relationship and stuff and it seems like Sheila is over it and she's not mentioning him and his misdeeds all the time and stuff, then yeah, right? Because it doesn't necessarily, it no longer exists in that same way.
Yeah. What a kind way to be able to move on with life. Yeah, if Mike, like, let's just say if his personality was totally different or, you know, he was just like, you know,
What if he was like, congratulations, she's a good woman.
Congratulations, I lost a good woman. I'm over here with this hag right now who won't even cook and spending up all my money.
Troy, you dodged the bullet, bro.
I got what I deserve, Troy. You know.
He like, you lucky you didn't get with her that weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see it, you know, because I am for peace in that sense, but it's just, I don't know. It would be hard. But in this situation, the way it plays out here, like, nah, he's making a mortal enemy of Troy in these moments.
Do you remember Troy? So you went up there for a weekend, right? Troy was just the guy who was the sheriff there. Do you necessarily remember him?
Yes, because Troy was pitted with your woman, right? With your side chick. Troy was the one who was being hooked up with Trina, his side chick. So he was hyper focused on Troy. Oh, you know, let me try to throw shade at Troy because, you know, I know you don't make a lot of money as a sheriff.
I probably wouldn't even remember Troy.
Well,
I would remember him, but I wouldn't be like, Troy, what are you doing here? I'd be like, I know was you over there somewhere.
Nah, he was hyper focused on Troy because, you know, Troy was encroaching on his territory as far as he was concerned with Trina.
Come to the table, man. I can't play with you.
Don't be bitter, man. We just...
So back in the dressing room, we see Sheila begin to tell her story to her girlfriends. And she's like, I prayed that God would save my marriage, but it wasn't built on the right things.
I prayed that God would save my marriage, but it wasn't built on the right things anyway.
And implying that, you know, that's why her marriage had failed. And she gives even more insight. And she's like, I thought that if Mike got right, so if I don't know if he got right with God or if he just got right as a person, and that if she lost the weight, that everything would be okay.
I thought if Mike got right, if I lost the weight, that everything would be okay.
So now we understand why early on she was acting like she was acting, because this was what was going on in her mind, right? She was acting in denial, even though she knew something was wrong, because she thought just like, look, these two things happen. If I lose the weight, Mike gets right, boom, everything's going to be all golden. But it wasn't.
Or he just gets right.
Yeah. So she starts to cry in this moment. And then she talks about how,
it's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard, but it's me. I'm doing it. And it feels so good.
And you always like make a little bit of fun of me about this, but like this scene, even now when just rewatching it, it gets me teary eyed. It always made me cry. This scene did. Stop laughing at me. Because like the things
it's supposed to be happy. He done moved on and stuff.
Because when you've been through some things in your life, then it makes you look at it and feel appreciative for what you have. Like sometimes, you know, like she goes on to say it's been hard, but she did it. It's her. She's doing it on her own and it feels so good because she thought that God had given up on her in her mind.
I thought that God had given up on me. Yeah.
And that she was in this loveless marriage.
Here I am in this marriage and it don't work.
Where the man don't love her. He don't even like her.
He don't love me. He don't like me.
But then now she's got this amazing man who doesn't criticize her,
But he brought me somebody. He is an amazing man.
who is good to her.
He is supportive. He doesn't criticize me.
And she just wakes up with so much joy in her heart, she says, right?
I didn't have that, and I do now. And
Like, that is the flip side of the hell she was living in with Mike. And it's just like, it's heartwarming.
I wake up with so much joy in my heart.
She's on a contradiction superhighway.
Shut up.
I done it all on my own. So this whole thing, right, with Tyler Perry, you have I'm making a religious movie, but it's a romance and all that, but whatever. But it's like the road to mainstreaming of prosperity gospel, because so she prayed and she has faith in all this, so she get these great things, or the things that she asked for, the things that she deserves here on earth, while there are other people who do the same thing, pray and really have abundant faith, and who don't get those things, who are in abusive relationships and don't get out of it because they had a friend next to them who said, hey, look at your friend right here who is sleeping with your man, right? And then a guy who just happens to be there on a vacation when you left with $87 says, hey, you could come stay with me, and all of this, right? Like, some people, they ain't privileged enough to even be in a situation like that. But it's make it as though it's that God favors you, right? You are blessed by God, which says it's something about you, that why you have things. And basically that's how you get to where, okay, I prosper because I have faith. And if you don't, then something is wrong with you because God haven't blessed you in this same way. And that is kind of what they do with a lot of these religious movies, is make it like all you have to do is believe, and then you get your wants here on earth, because this is about wants and desires, human wants and desires.
You know, I might push back a little bit and say that is it a want? Is love is to be treated decently and not be abused a want, or is that a need? You know, I would argue maybe.
Okay,
that
where
is
now
a need.
it's even worse.
Oh,
because some people don't get the need from God.
Some people don't get their needs met, and some of the connections that are being made. But, you know, she was telling her story from her perspective based on what her beliefs as a Black Christian woman in America might be. And, you know, this lens, it might be viewed differently if you live in another part of the world.
Yeah,
where
but I think
this ain't the situation.
The culture and media determines what the religious philosophies are.
Yeah.
So when the people make these movies and stuff, or, you know, start the churches and preach the certain things and spread their media in different ways, then you get to, you know.
Well, there's an aspect of blaming the victim that happens, right? Or saying that
someone is
if someone is struggling
or whatever.
Yeah, right. You're in your situation because you want to be like, I can't tell you, like, lately I've been seeing a lot about prosperity gospels and mindsets and stuff, and then people saying things like, oh, you have a quote poverty mindset, and, you know, labeling stuff, you know, basically blaming people who are poor and been poor for generations or continuing to be poor,
a lack of an understanding of capitalism,
you know. And all of that. And I know I'm getting on a soapbox, but, you know, it's like you see that and then they're blaming the person for being poor.
But so I say all this to say that it's like the writers or whoever who making a religious film or whatever, sharing with us their thoughts on religion, right? Intentional or unintentionally, right?
Well, yeah.
And how they think, or they're showing the way this character thinks about it, which is when you make it as a triumph story, then it's like a moral of be like Sheila, right? And pray, and then good things will come to you on this earth, right?
Right.
And
all you got to do is kind of
have the faith formula and whatever. Yeah. It's very abbreviated because it's not purely a religious philosophy movie. So then you try to throw in the religious pieces of it every here and there, right? Oh, I'm gonna pray for you, and I thought God had given up on me, and all of these little things that's just thrown in at various times to make it religious.
Yeah. And, you know, and we can't ignore the history that, you know, Tyler Perry's plays, which came out before any of his movies, were all very religious based. You know, they are these Black Christian religious pieces of artwork that he was putting out. And so this departs from it somewhat, but that is the implication. I think anytime you go to watch Tyler Perry thing, that is going to be infused with, with religious things and even religious tropes at times. But the message to me that is being said in this particular scene is like, keep the faith, stay strong, try to go out and do what you can do. And, that even if it seems like it, God hasn't forgotten you. Like, that's the message.
Okay. But it can be, where's the movie, that even though you don't get to where Sheila got to with this great joy or whatever, that God is still doing what God does. Can't that be a thing?
I mean, it could be,
even
but
if you're
it's always
in poverty, sad, being abused.
Well,
God is there.
That ain't nobody making a movie about that.
Oh, well,
like, and that being the end, right? because people want to look for inspiration in art, right? They want to look for the uplifting things, and who's going to be like, oh, Sheila went up to the mountain and saved her marriage with Mike, and he still continues to abuse her, but at least they're together.
Because she prayed to have the marriage saved.
Nope, nobody is going to like that movie. They would have said this movie is trash. But on the flip side, the thing, the feeling, the emotions evoked in this scene for me was just simply that everybody, or most people in their lives, have been in a place where you feel like, okay, what do I do next? Or things got jacked up and now how do I, move on with my life? And if you're ever at that point in your life, and it doesn't have to be about romantic relationships. It could be a thing happens, or, you're getting over the death of a loved one, whatever it is, where you feel overlooked and forgotten and, like, dang, where am I supposed to get my inspiration from? That to have triumphed over that, to have continued living and putting one foot in front of the other, and this too shall pass, and it did pass. And to be on the other side of the pain is an emotional thing looking back. And that's what I would say is like the thing that evokes it. But
it's a privilege as well.
It is a privilege. You're right. You're right. It's a privilege. And that's part of why I was saying you have to, that when I look at it, it also makes me say, gee, I'm thankful that I'm not where I was. I'm thankful that, in life, sometimes you could be holding on to stuff and looking at stuff and thinking, oh, this is such the greatest thing and ever, and you holding on to junk. You holding on to something. And that was Sheila's situation, right? She's holding on to this abusive man, and I don't like to jump ahead and talk about other movies or anything that happens. But like later we find out in this next movie that he was actually physically beating her too. So like Sheila had done been through some hell with Mike. I'm just glad she was able to get out of it. And then if you have a situation in your life where you have overcome, then to look back on that can kind of make you a little emotional. And for me, that's how I looked at it. Was just like, gee, Sheila really, she glowed up.
He walks with me. And he loves me through all of it.
But it wasn't until actually this watching of the film that I had two thoughts. One, what if Sheila didn't lose the weight and still had the man and all of this stuff? And that they, she had Troy and everything. Like, was it the weight loss? Was it the physical appearance? Because the movie does feed into this idea that she needed to be smaller. But see, Troy loved her bigger.
But
before she lost the weight, Troy loved her.
Troy loved her so much that he helped her to lose weight.
Well, and then again, let's just keep it real, because somebody in the comments is going to be like, oh, but it's an unhealthy way for her to be even the size Jill Scott is here, is an unhealthy weight. And then he did it because he loves her and he wanted her to be healthy. But never in this film really was health brought up at all. So let's not even try to, as
if you're not happy about the way you look,
let's not try to cap.
Then change it. Yeah. And then even when Mike brought up gastric bypass, it was brought up as it's a dig as not the right way to get healthy, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Or to
So,
lose weight. Because
yeah.
it's not about being healthy. It's about losing weight. And a lot of times I think a lot of people losing weight in order to look a certain way. And a lot of people will be like, I want to just be healthy. I want to be healthy. And that may be true. But a lot of people, it ain't about being healthy. It's about, let me get a certain appearance.
You brought up she was catching hell, and I was just thinking they could have used the song "I'm Catching Hell." In this
I'm
movie.
catching hell. Yeah.
I'm catching hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
They could have used that. Yeah, they could have used that for sure.
Living here alone.
The next question that I do have is Sheila. It was portrayed as if Sheila kind of stopped looking to a man to solve her problems or whatever. And she did this self-sufficiently and she relied on herself. But was that really true? Because Sheriff Troy comes along and he is the hero early on. And he does help, really kind of help to solve her
She
problems.
mentioned it after they were working out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, oh, you came and you basically my savior and no one want this so-called hero syndrome, all this. But then she gets here with her friends. I done it myself. And talking about God, he brought me somebody.
You know, which is true. Like Troy was a good man. Like we're not slighting Troy, but like how, you know, how did she actually view what happened between
What Troy done.
Yeah, what
for
Troy
her.
brought to them. Because Troy solved everything. You need a place to be. Come on, baby.
Bruh.
You could come stay over here rent free. I'm losing hundreds of dollars, probably thousands a month because I can't
That's
rent
what
this place
people
out
mean.
that you living at.
When they say they're self-made. I done it. People say
Sheila
that
is
all the time.
self-made.
I done it all myself. Come on.
You know, but I mean, she did make some progress. Like she was more involved. I'm not going to take that away.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you went from one man to another man. You went from one man to a better man. And that's not a criticism. That's just the fact of what happened. There wasn't even any time. It's not like Sheila went out and was like, oh, I'm going to go get this job and then I'm going to work for my own. And then eventually you meet a man. No, you met the man who would be your husband before you even divorced the first husband. And he was already there, starting to look after you.
Who gave you the job.
He gave you the job. Even, listen, he was saving you from trying to take your silly behind up that mountain in the middle of the night, icy mountain, and get yourself in a car wreck and be over a cliff in a ravine. You know, he was protecting. He was serving as the protector even before he had you.
It's funny because she was like, people been taking care of me all this time. I need to do it on my own. You were staying at Sheriff Troy's spot.
For free.
Talking about, I'm going to pay you back. You could have said that to your friend.
But in her mind, and I think she intended to, I think in her mind it made sense. It was unrealistic on every
people
other
have to feel
account.
that way, right? To stroke their own egos. And I see
I'm going to pay you back.
No, that they're doing everything on their own or it's because of me and my, you know what I'm saying? And just discounting all the help and assistance you're actually getting from other people along the way.
Yeah, go to the comments. Let us know. Did Sheila actually just go one man to the next and that man really solved her problems for her? Or did Sheila do it all on her own? Tell us in the comments what you think about that.
Two extremes.
Or tell us if you feel differently. I don't know. You know, whatever the options, tell us how you feel about this dynamic of, you know, Sheila getting her knight in shining armor coming to save her.
I'm very blessed to have won an honor
Janet Jackson as Patricia gives her speech.
for a book that has given me such gratification
It doesn't sound good at the beginning, but she's giving it.
and information and great vacations.
But then Mike is trying to talk to Sheila. And I'm thinking, how is he sitting next to her at this event like this? Like, who did this?
Yeah, I'm not sitting next to Mike at this event. It's not happening.
We really didn't get a chance to talk.
And then Mike is so self-centered. He's trying to talk to her in the midst of
her speech,
Patricia's speech, her acceptance speech for this award. The whole reason they even went to Washington to begin with.
Well, he don't care, but
Yeah, he's trifling like that.
But Sheila should have been like, shut up. I'm trying to listen to my friend's speech.
Well, she tried to. But Mike opens up with we didn't get a chance to talk. And then she's like, on purpose.
On purpose?
And he's all like, don't be like that.
Come on, Sheila, don't be like that.
What do you want, Mike?
I don't want you to be mad at me.
Look, I'm sorry about how all this went down. I don't want you to be mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike, he tries to use her religion against her and says, forgive me. Isn't that what the good book says?
Yeah.
Forgiveness, you know.
Isn't that what the good book says?
And he actually
Bruh.
does apologize, though. It might have been easy to overlook, but he does say that he's sorry about how all of this went down. Interesting. He says, I'm sorry about how it went down. Not I'm sorry I was cheating on you. Not I'm sorry I was abusive. Not I'm sorry, that I wrecked your life.
He say, I'm sorry Angela told you at the table.
But yeah. And then, like, what is his point here? You're here with Trina. What do you have to say? And I guess his only point is that I don't want you to be mad at me. That's it. He doesn't want her to be angry with him. And so she says,
I think he's trying to get back with her. Right? Because then he brings up there's this thing, the 20-80 rule.
There's this thing called the 20-80 rule.
Yeah, he's such a
And
doofus.
Sheila says, I know all about the 80-20 rule.
I know all about the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, and in the midst of all of this back and forth, he also says that, because she says, well, I forgave you already, because he wants forgiveness.
I forgave you a long time ago.
I forgave you already because if I hadn't forgiven you, I would have been taking it out on Troy, and he's just too good for that.
Because if I had stayed angry, I would have taken it out on Troy.
Every time she shuts him down, here he comes with something else. He's like, but, I was your first, so you never forget your first.
I was your first. You never forget your first, right?
And she's like, you did think you were my first. I was like, well, okay, Sheila.
You did think you were my first, didn't you?
Sheila lied?
Or she just let him believe what he
Sheila lied?
thought. She didn't. Maybe
Did
she
Sheila
didn't.
lie?
Shut up.
Sheila started the relationship off with a lie.
We don't know that. We just know that.
I know that's what she's claiming now, though.
Shut up.
Dang, see, when you try to throw those digs in there in your writing, then you start to have little character
You're
flaws
degrading
coming out.
the character in the process.
Yeah.
But she does just like finally say to him, look, I thank you for helping me find myself then, but the woman I am now is done with you.
But the woman I am now is done with you.
Go back over there to Trina. Yo, 20.
So turn around and go back to Trina. You're 20.
Yo, 20%. Like, I know it was like, dang, but yeah, Mike deserved every bit of that and then some.
Good job, Tyler Perry. You brought up the 80-20 rule earlier in the film, and then right here, you just throw it down on the table.
So here's my
Domino.
question. What do you think that Troy should have gotten involved in this at all?
In what?
In him trying to whisper to Sheila.
Yes.
Because Troy is right in front of Sheila. So
He
you
should have been
can
sitting
hear
up
her
there.
talking. You can hear her saying something. And
As a protector, Troy, how do you sit in front of her with her to your back? How do you protect? How do you
listen
see
at
her?
that. That's that protection game. You supposed to sit next to Mike
Tyler
and protect
Perry,
her
explain this. All of them are sitting in front of the women.
You supposed to be behind her to make sure that don't nothing sneak up on her, and you can see in front of her so nothing is coming from the front.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't even
See Tyler Perry, bruh?
I'm
You
sure maybe it was some
communicate things and-
cinematography thing, but
Yeah.
like he would have been whispering in Troy's ear, "Hey Troy,
Hey, Troy, tap Sheila.
tap Sheila and tell her I'm sorry." That's weird. And then plus the guys are generally speaking going to be like taller and bigger than the women, and then I gotta like look over you because the way the seats are, like I have to look. You're in my way. You're in front of me as we face the front because the table is positioned the long way. So I don't know, but yeah, we know that Tyler wanted to get this scene done, and this just made sense in that moment.
Yeah.
But there's some things about it that don't make sense, and they should have been better. But maybe there's like a cinematography reason. The light was over here, and if we did it this way, boppity bloop bloop bloop.
You placed the lights where you needed.
Well, we only had a few minutes, and we were filming, and we only had a few minutes left because we got this much time and our budget
I
constraints.
just think it had to be where he was leaning over her shoulder, interrupting her. Is it called interrupting?
Interrupting her. Disturbing her.
Yeah.
And like, how dare you think that you could get that close to me anymore and be up in my person like that? No, get back, dog. Absolutely not.
And You do have a thing of her back is turned to him, right?
Yeah.
So you could turn your back to him.
Yeah, but I don't know. So did we decide, should Troy have turned around and been like, what are you talking about? Leave Sheila alone.
So I always
Leave my
think
wife
about this
alone.
when I'm watching TV shows, right? And sitcoms. They can't hear what's going on, this conversation between them. And when you watch a TV show or something, people be making all kind of crazy comments just loud, and the other people can't hear them at all. It'd be very crazy. Like if you ever watch sitcoms, or I think just TV shows in general, it's always where somebody is saying something that the other people around them can't hear, or they can't see them do either. And it's just always strange every time I see it. But I think that's how it's supposed to be. That nobody even notices this. Even think about it. His woman is behind him, and he's leaning over trying to talk to his ex.
And Trina see this. How is Trina? What does
That's
Trina
who I'm
think?
talking
Trina
about.
is like,
Trina.
Trina just want the credit card. Trina don't care what you do. But like, look, if I'm Trina, like, think about it. You're a new man. Well, I would never be Trina. But if I was in Trina's position, like, I'm leaning forward. Hello, I'm putting my chin up on your shoulder, player, because you're not finna just be disrespecting me like that. But that's what you should expect from Mike, because Mike disrespected his whole wife of like over a decade in order to be with you, Trina. So yeah, you get what you get. But I'm just saying, it was unrealistic. This dialogue needed to get pushed out, and that's what we get.
Yeah, but that's the conclusion of their story. So in the beginning, we had Sheila and Mike. Mike was totally disrespecting Sheila and cheating on her with her friend, who they went on this resort vacation with. And then it came out while there that he was cheating, and then he just basically left her with no money, broke up with her, and left with the side chick. And she ended up getting with the sheriff, who happened to be in that resort town. She never left. And then she worked out with the sheriff and lost weight and glowed up, and then showed up after not talking to her friend, or not seeing her friends, and not really talking to her friends for a while, telling them what's going on. Showed up at an award show for one of the friends. And then she runs into Mike, who regrets going with the side chick. And Sheila is all happy because she actually married the sheriff, who, she met at this vacation.
Yeah.
And she's all happy now. And she seems to be totally over Mike, but Mike is still uneasy.
And it's like she's over Mike, but at the same time, I believe Sheila hates Mike. It would never be expressed, I don't think, completely. But I think that she's not indifferent to Mike, right? She clearly has negative feelings towards Mike, as anyone in that situation
woman. She
would.
don't hate him.
She hate Mike. I'm telling you, she hate Mike. And because part of that is enjoying the suffering, enjoying being able to put him in his place, right?
Yeah.
One of the shortcomings in the film is that it attempts to tell all of these 4 couple stories thoroughly in like a 2-hour movie, and that's just really, really hard to do, because there were details that I felt should have been left in. I mean, even here, look, we have talked almost like, close to 4 hours worth of discussion about Sheila, Troy, and Mike, right, alone, and they're trying to sandwich in like all of these other couples.
And we still don't know what their relationship was really like. I don't know who Sheila and Mike's, what their relationship was really like. We know that he said stuff about her weight and stuff all the time.
It was everything opposite of what it appears hers with Troy is. That's how you know. He was not affectionate. He was not loving. He paid bills apparently, but he was a cheapskate. And he was sleeping around on her with somebody who was claiming to be her friend.
Oh, well, then he did a good job at conveying it.
Well, yeah, I guess
I don't
so.
see that.
What I'm saying is just
I don't know
like,
what happened in their relationship.
There were questions. There were other questions I had, like, could it have been more explicit whether or not Sheila worked, especially because the story in the play was different. And also, even in the play, apparently they had children. For those of you who have ever watched one of our deep dives and thought you should cover this movie next, Deep Dive on Demand is for you. With a sole executive producer credit, you can choose any movie you want for just a $75 contribution. You'll be the sole executive producer on that video. You're going to receive on-screen credit and get a shout out during the video. Looking for a lower cost option? Our co-executive producer credits start at just $10. Simply choose a film from our select list and you'll receive on-screen credit and a shout out alongside the other co-executive producers for that video. We also have a couple of limited time bundles available to you. You can get 3 co-executive producer credits for just $25, which is a $30 value. Or our biggest bundle yet, 1 sole executive producer credit for the movie of your choice, plus 3 co-executive producer credits for just $75. And that's a $105 value. This is a great way to support the channel while helping us to decide what movies we're going to cover next. So you'll find links to all of these options in the description. Thanks, and let's get back to the video.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So the first time that we see Sheila and Troy, they are welcomed into a beautiful villa in the Bahamas. I mean, the place looks gorgeous. Nothing but white sandy beaches, blue water, and friendly people. And I mean, the villa is so luxurious looking. Like, who wouldn't want to live in a place like this?
And as a nod to the first movie, one of the first lines is, "This is better than a brochure."
Yeah,
This is better than a brochure.
that's what Diane said about Troy's place in Colorado.
Wow, the brochure didn't do this place justice.
As they're going out, just kind of exploring the place, Sheila and Troy go out back.
Oh, come on, let's go outside.
Oh,
And Sheila's like, if you ever questioned if there is a God, look at this. It is just so stunning and beautiful. Not just the house itself, but just the nature, the
Yeah.
palm trees, the water, the beaches.
And if you have enough money, then God allows you to go. But if not, then you will never see this. But because
Shut
Troy talks about this is where all our money went. Like, how much money went into this trip that's presumably, to me, part of Patricia's study.
Look, we trying to talk about them. We not even going to talk about
But I'm talking about the money. Like, how much,
I know Patricia's study should be covering the cost of this. We talked about that in the comment section a lot on this last video that we had done on the previous film, which was on Patricia and Gavin's relationship.
So this is where all our money went, huh?
Yeah, so they're talking about how Troy brings up that all our money went here. What's going on? Are they broke?
And she's like, don't look at it that way.
don't look at it that way.
Yeah, this is what we need.
This is what we need.
And then Troy says, I need a job.
Need a job.
So like they spent their money to come out here to paradise and stuff. And it seems like they're having hard times. In the last film, everything was all good. They were happy. And
We're married now. Get out.
The ring it's huge. Troy has some money, clearly, some money. And she's got, at least a 2 to 3 carat solitaire in the middle of all that. Now, granted, we know it's fake for the movie. But the point is, the thing is huge. And I think that was on purpose, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
now it's just like, oh, we broke. Our story ain't going to be the same as it was in the first one.
Well, when you got money woes, that always puts some extra stress on the situation. But the funny thing is how Troy is like bringing the reality. Before he was bringing the dream, right? In the first movie, Troy was like, you can be what you want, Sheila. You can stay here. You can have a new start in Colorado, Sheila.
Sheila, it's a great time for a new start. If you want to stay.
I'm the knight in shining armor. We see a very different Troy out the gate. He is like a realist. He's like, I need to be able to provide. But we also get some other information about them too, right? He's out of work, but we find out they moved to Atlanta and they have a new baby.
To move to Atlanta, the new baby. I mean, still not having work.
That's a big change. Troy had it popping back in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
He was the sheriff of the town, which means basically he ran a town.
He had the general store.
And he had that lodge or whatever it is.
His parents' house or
that
home
he was
that
renting
they had.
out.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's broke.
I don't know. It's the way you say now he's broke. But I mean, these things do cost money. So he's clearly and rightfully stressed because Troy, I'm not willing to give up. I'm not going to accept if Tyler Perry has made some changes in this character that I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm going to still see him as the same Troy I knew from the first movie. He's taken his responsibility of his family seriously. And this is why he's stressed. Because he's on vacation and I ain't got no job. And we spent the last of what we got.
But I can't say he's necessarily broke, right? Because when you have money and you have a budget, you say that you don't have money or all our money went here when you're talking about all the money in the budget. So at this point in the film, it could just be that, okay, our little wiggle room is gone or whatever, but I don't take that necessarily as all the way broke. But
yeah, I agree.
He's still looking for a job.
He's a responsible man, so he ain't spending down to his last. Ain't no way a man like Troy would have even agreed to go on this trip if it was actually their, quote, last. We're talking about it was maybe their last of their discretionary money. It was the last of, some little money they had set aside. Trust and believe this is not the mortgage or the rent money that he is spending to be on this trip. Troy is not that kind of man.
I don't know.
You don't know. That's who he was in the first film. Very responsible. Why would he be different now?
I don't know. They didn't talk about being fiscally responsible, so I don't know how he handles money.
I don't know. Y'all go to the comments. Let us know. Would Troy go on this trip spending his last money if it was truly his last? Like, if he wasn't going to have that much more money left at all. Do you think he would have gone on this trip?
How are you?
Trisha and Gavin arrive and Sheila greets them on her way back in from talking with Troy. Gavin asks about, where's Troy? And Sheila lies and says he's out there on a jet ski.
Oh, he's out there on a jet ski.
Because he's not. You just walked in. Y'all was just standing there talking, but all right.
Well, he went to the jet ski, right? You gonna say she lied? We already starting this basically like Sheila is lying.
That's another nod, I think, to the first film though too, because the first one they were talking about snowmobiles, and now we got the water version of that. A jet ski. So Tyler Perry threw in a couple nuggets up in there.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful. I got some pictures. I'm gonna show you.
So as Patricia and Sheila talk, first thing that Sheila says to Patricia is, "So when are you gonna have another baby?"
When are you gonna have another baby, Pat? That's not gonna happen.
That's a tough question. Like, I feel like
so inappropriate. Like that, even though you may feel, oh, it's been a couple years, so this person should be over it. It's just still like if they're not bringing it up, I don't know.
I just feel like, listen, those are sensitive issues, for people. And let people bring up issues about their childlessness or if they're going to have a baby or when it's going to happen. It is incredibly freaking rude. And I don't care how close you think you are to a person. Unless you are like, you're their ace. Even the way that question is phrased is just like bogus.
Part of it is how you say that, how you bring it up. But is it different than when Patricia is saying, don't tell Sheila about her man sneaking around her back, behind her back?
Well, it's no different.
Like she's not ready. You know what I'm saying? She's not ready to bring up this about a baby, or Sheila's not ready to be told that her husband was doing this.
Right. I mean, and she's not, I don't know. There's a part of it that's like respectful. It's one thing that's an obvious stuff like, her husband cheating on her and that whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's another thing when you're aggressing. And even though you don't mean any harm, because Sheila did not mean any harm in this moment. She's had her baby. She wants Pat to be happy. She's realized the joy of motherhood and she wants to share that. But that is not Pat's reality. And that ain't probably what Pat wants to hear.
And with Sheila and what was going on with Mike, that's actionable, right? Like I'm telling you this because you're in this terrible situation that you can have an exit out from,
Yeah, and you don't know the reason why they haven't had another baby. Is it? Is she getting to be too far along? Are they having trouble getting pregnant again? In this moment, you really don't know.
Yeah, but you do know what happened to the other kids. So
but you asking questions. So yeah. But Pat responds, that's not going to happen. And so then she quickly changes the subject and she's like, well, how's the house? And then, Sheila is more comfortable to talk about her own situation.
And how is Troy just into the South? He's having trouble finding a job.
And they discuss about the fact that Troy's having trouble finding a job and that Sheila feels bad because she's the one who wanted to leave Colorado to be closer to her friends and her mother.
I wanted us to leave Colorado, just to be closer to my mom.
You want to be closer to your friends, but you won't even see them. Like at the beginning of the scene, she's like, I'll show you some pictures. This baby ain't brand new.
Why is Troy having a hard time finding a job?
Oh my gosh.
It's, let's say at least 7 other people, right? Who have careers and have connections and everything.
Uh-huh.
And hey, Sheila's new husband, Troy's here. He needs a job. Somebody put the word out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, go and talk to so-and-so.
Maybe because it's a secret.
Yeah.
And this is where
That's what Sheila did in the first film, kept the secret that she was even in Colorado.
And this is the question that I feel like I have. Because in these situations, Troy's having trouble finding a job. Sheila has a network. She could put the word out. But then it could be embarrassing or people might feel vulnerable about that.
That's why you do it ahead. Hey, y'all, we're moving from Colorado to Atlanta. Troy's going to need a job. You know, y'all keep a lookout.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a real good point. That's a nice way to do it where it doesn't make you seem deficient because you have this need. And it's just like relying on your network. But the other part about it, and I think we see this as the film moves on, is that Troy is an outsider still, right? Because he hasn't gotten to know all of these people personally. These are not his friends. These are Sheila's friends.
Yeah.
You know, so I could understand there being some level of discomfort, you know, with just putting it out there. And she pushed to leave, you know, Colorado. And Troy is just having trouble adjusting. He's having trouble adjusting to the South, you know, maybe just the weather.
As an Army brat.
You know, and probably just in a perpetual bad mood because he's got a lot of pressure on him and he doesn't know where his money is coming from.
Yeah.
And probably the move wasn't the best financial move for their family. Like, you got everything you need in Colorado, but you want to be over here and it's going to cost us a lot of money.
Troy is having Sheila lead.
Shut up. Do y'all think that's true? Troy is having Sheila lead? Go to the comments and let us know. You know, I never even thought about that Sheila was leading in this.
Well, she's like, hey, I don't know if it's leading, but she is being very suggestive to have him. Hey, let's leave Colorado, go to where I'm from and uproot everything and all this good stuff we have here so that you can be over there struggling.
I think it's more like, as far as why he would comply, I feel like he's like, I want to see my wife happy, and
well,
you
that's
know,
how it works.
And was her pressure sell that hard? Like, I don't really know, but Sheila leading.
I'm pretty sure Troy didn't just out the blue say, let's move to Atlanta.
I'm sure she's the one. She even admits that she's the one who pressed that. So
yeah, so there we go. Now we are where we are.
How was your flight?
So then we see, or we hear, you know, turmoil at the car before we ever see anybody come in. But we have Diane and Terry who come in first. And of course, Angela and Marcus are back out arguing somewhere outside. And they're talking about what a pain in the butt it has been, this travel with the other couple. But they, you know, welcome them and everything like that. And they're, you know, joking around. So then Terry decides that he wants to go out with the jet skis with Troy and whatever. And so he leaves.
Oh, man, is that Troy out there? Can I go?
And I'll get into this more on the video we do about Diane and Terry. But he was like, can I go? Can I go? You know, I like a little kid. I don't know. I just didn't like that. Like, I feel, is this really how this character would behave? But maybe he's just so giddy that he finally got his son that, you know, he's just a whole new man. Anyway, the ladies are left by themselves to kind of chop it up until Marcus and Angela come in.
No, you act like you rich because you on TV. You know that, right?
So then we see that Angela and Marcus come in. They're arguing just like they were in the first movie. This is how they roll into the retreat. So they're just going on, and everybody's just watching them almost pretty much just give a show. And then Tyler Perry has them both say, why did I get married and why did I get married to?
I wonder, why did I get married?
Why did I get married to?
But not in a way that Patricia said it goes in the study. Like, we ask ourselves, why did I get married? They're asking it in a way of it being rhetorical, that I should not be married.
Yes.
Or that there's problems with being married to this person.
I came here to drink those famous margaritas, Pat.
So the women agree that they're going to have some drinks at Angela's prompting. And, you know, we see them kind of separate, kind of like they did in the first movie, where, you know, the women go all off together and the men go all off together to have their, you know, respective gender based discussions.
It's your first time here?
Yeah. The Bahamas are great, man. It's paradise down here, I'm telling you.
So the guys are all out there sitting on the beach on the jet skis and whatever. And they're having their guy talk about how crazy women are or whatever. And Gavin asks Troy, he says, you know, is this your first time here? And Troy says, yeah. And, you know, that makes me think about how maybe even though Troy was an Army brat, maybe once he settled in Colorado, he really didn't probably travel a whole lot because, you know, these guys clearly have traveled all kind of places, and
Well, they seem to be, I guess, affluent, right? And they're going out on these vacations to these destinations for, the Americans, right? So you've been in the Bahamas, probably been to resort places in Jamaica,
Mexico,
Cancun, and all that. So yeah, so he bring up, did you go? No, he hasn't gone, but he may have been places. Now, when he's talking with Sheila, we don't have the money. We spent all our money to do this. Before, maybe he didn't have the money to go on vacations, or he was spending his time as a sheriff, or what I'm saying?
And just maybe stacking his money and kind of preparing for things.
Yeah, and if you're traveling around as a kid with your father in the military, then you're probably not going to, vacation destinations.
So, during this long conversation that's going on, Troy is mostly observing the guys, because I did wonder, like, how was Troy going to fit with the group? Are they welcoming or not? And they seem very welcoming to Troy in the group. And what's funny is after he has observed everything with the group, then, he starts to warm up a little to them. And he's like, y'all fellas are crazy as they're talking about all these women and their wives and whatever's going on.
Y'all fellas are crazy, man. Yeah, we all nuts, man.
And they ask him, how are things with you and Sheila? And he's like, things are good. The baby is good. And, we good.
Like you and Sheila, how's it going with you two? Good. And the baby's good.
Basically, he's going to keep his mask up. So he's not going to be like, can't find a job and I'm stressed. He doesn't know him like that yet, I guess. Right. So he still is very much I'm on the periphery of this friendship and I really can't confide in you guys. So he is being dishonest, basically, in this moment. He's not being real with them. But I can't blame him for, he's just keeping his business to himself.
Yeah, because part of it, too, is like these men gossip. Because they're talking about how Mike told us that Sheila said the reason they couldn't have a baby was because of Sheila when it ended up being Mike. And,
Yeah,
man. And it was Mike that led us to believe that Sheila couldn't conceive.
It was good that he really ain't divulging at this moment. But I think it's part of his character, too, where he's more reserved than the other ones. And Terry seems to take the lead. And we'll talk about this in another video about him. But he is a different character from the first film. The first film, he was more like the mentor we talked about. And now he's just trying to tell jokes the whole time and be funny. Most of it, he's talking about how Angela is, talking about this man's wife. And then when Troy decides to say something, his comment is about Mike's wife.
No. Ain't nobody worse than Angela.
Wait a minute, young man.
Angela.
Which is weird. Like, he's like, ain't nobody worse than Angela. And I'm like,
I mean, no disrespect. She's out there, man. She's somewhere else.
Troy is chiming in. So, and then Terry's all like, you'll fit right in with this group, man.
What you trying to say? Hey, you gonna fit in right around here. I'm telling you that.
So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but it does. I'm glad that Troy does seem like maybe he's making friends in this new place, even though you went to the Bahamas to make friends when y'all should have been hanging out in Atlanta in between you looking for a job. But, it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't seem like they ever see each other in Atlanta.
No, because one of the things that Sheila and Patricia were talking about, Sheila was like, I'll let you see some pictures of the kid that she had. Like, come on now. I guess back then you would get your pictures, mail them out or whatever, or when you see the person, you give them their little, I don't even remember the sizes, but the little small ones, and then the ones that's a little bigger than others.
Man, you talk about 1985. This is 2010. In 2010, you could have emailed them pictures or texted those pictures.
I think 2010 people were still giving physical pictures,
they
though.
Probably were, but in 2010, you were also texting pictures. Come on.
Yeah. So
you were texting videos in 2010.
They still don't talk.
iPhones were around by then. So
Your book? He cheated, so now what?
Okay.
So the ladies are all inside having drinks and chit-chatting, talking about Pat's latest book
Bruh.
called He Cheated, Now What? Bruh. Okay, clearly this isn't a study book, at least. They get into this conversation basically about having your spouse's password to their cell phone.
I don't have the password to my husband's cell phone. I trust him.
And so Angela is talking about, how she wants the password to Marcus's cell phone.
I asked Marcus for the password to his cell phone. If I don't trust him, then I should have it.
And they're all sharing whether they have the passwords or not, right? And so then you have Sheila, and Sheila's like, I trust that man. I don't have his password. I trust him.
I don't
don't have Troy's. I trust that man.
Patricia says she does not have Gavin's password, but Diane says that she does have Terry's password, right?
I trust Terry, but I do have his.
And this just got me to thinking. Y'all, go to the comments. Do you have the password of your significant other if you do? Or a way to get into their phone?
I think they missed a spot here, but I guess it's different, 13 years ago. You can have the password, but are you searching for something on the phone?
Yeah, like, are you going through phones? And I mean, this is clearly a sensitive issue. And there are people who will go through phones, but just the question is, do you give your significant other access to your phone? And I mean, there might be times when they need to do, make a call, whatever the deal might be. I don't think that if you just have I don't know, I guess I don't see a problem with it, because at the same time, it's like, all right, if you got a computer, do they have the password to your computer? Can they see all your emails? Can they see, and the question is, are you going looking? Are you going snooping and looking for things, or are you not? And, at the end of the day,
maybe that's where the trust comes in, right?
Yeah.
Because they make it about trust of whether or not you can trust the person, so you need their password, but the person who gives it to you have to trust you not to just be going around snooping and stuff.
Yeah. But like, not even, I mean, you can have a key code password, but mostly you're using your fingerprint now.
Yeah, biometrics and your facial, maybe
exactly.
eyes.
And I mean, we have each other's passwords. I mean, not even passwords, but our fingerprints are in each other's phone. I mean, because I'm not on your phone and you're not on my phone like that. But at the same time, if something came up, like I as needed kind of thing, right? I mean, it's kind of like why they have the meme about men in their phones. But like, if you got to be running through somebody's phone and doing all of that stuff, I think that you learn, and this is me as a woman, I just think that you learn over time that if you got to do all that, you just got to step back and ask yourself questions about what's going on. Anyway, that's just a symptom of a bigger problem if you got to do all that. But anyway,
but what we got from here is that Sheila doesn't have Troy's password, and I guess that maybe that was just the zeitgeist of the time about passwords, or Tyler Perry created it. You know what I'm saying? It became a thing because of this movie.
But as they're all sitting talking, having their drinks, enjoying themselves, boom, who walks in but Mike?
Ooh, what's going on in here?
Everybody's like, Mike, what are you doing here?
Oh, Mike, what are you doing here?
Oh, I was hoping Marcus divorced your ass.
And he's like, I own part of the timeshare and I'm here to have a good time.
I own part of a timeshare. I'm here to have a good time.
Okay, the timeshares work where you would block out the time that you plan to spend at the timeshare, like as a owner of the timeshare. So if the group blocked out their time, you can't just show up without them knowing.
Bruh.
And if you feel like you're part of the quote unquote group that owns the timeshare, like, I don't know, maybe the three of them, the four couples own it together. I don't know. But that would be weird too to me. This excuse doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so when did they get into the timeshare? Is this where all Sheila and Troy's money went into a timeshare, not into paying for a vacation, or it goes into the timeshare and then you pay for travel and all this other stuff? And like,
help me understand.
Is it part of that yearly thing that they do, and now they just happen to do it at one of their timeshares?
And I mean, if they were going to pick one, because this is a few years after the first one. So the first one's 2007. This is 2010. But like, even in movie time, I think maybe slightly more time than the 3 years had passed. Explain to me how it is that you're at this timeshare and they don't know you're coming. And they don't, how did you get the dates? Like,
and he just decided to come during this time and say, this is the only time I could use my timeshare.
Unless, is this a timeshare? The whole thing is a timeshare, and each of them have a room, and you get an apartment, quote unquote, right? Your room is your part of the timeshare, right? Right.
But
not the entire house.
You got to come this at the same time that you heard that everybody else was going to be there.
Well, see, that makes sense. But I was just thinking the logistics of a timeshare, because I'm used to thinking, okay, timeshare is like a condo. When you say you have, but I guess they all
they all put in for one portion of a timeshare, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a timeshare together, not that they each put in for their separate portion of this one. You know
but
what
I'm
saying?
thinking that maybe that's the only way this makes sense is if they put in their separate portion. So
but the separate portion, then you come at a different time. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but you want to crash the party, so you come at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is like time. The other part about the way the timeshares work is like I'm used to it being condo situation where the whole building is timeshares, and let's say they have 30 apartments or whatever. So then you have a timeshare as long as one of the 30 apartments is available, and you have your timeshare, then you can go, right? So what I'm saying is that this place
is individual and its rooms, not just that it's individual.
Let's just assume that it's like a suite. So your individual timeshare is your room that you have with your husband, right? And each of them have their own, and they say we all going on the same week, and they coordinated when they would block their time
So
off.
was Mike's with his wife?
Well, Mike's is maybe just on his own now because it's been a few years, and presumably this timeshare is maybe a new thing. So he got his own thing. You see what I'm saying? To just crash the party, right? So he's like, I have a part of this timeshare too. Or maybe they had it before. Like, I don't know. But
I
there's
just think
questions.
it don't make sense.
There's questions, but you know. Anyway, so Mike shows up and everybody is just disturbed by his presence. Sheila won't even look at him. She's like just staring out the window because she cannot believe that he has shown his butt up. And I can only imagine that, you know, at a time where you already got stressed in situations with your husband, then you got this fool showing up, you know, for whatever reason. You don't even want to know what is going on with him. Just like, are you serious? Mike don't let her, you know, keep looking out the window. He got to speak to her directly because she doesn't say a word to him prior to this. And he's like, hello, Sheila. I heard you had a baby. Congratulations, in his nasally voice.
Hello, Sheila. I hear you had a baby. Congratulations.
Oh.
Yeah, well, so in this movie, it's a little different. The first one you had Trina basically was the third wheel, and now we have Mike.
I'm not going to let your insults hurt me, Cruella. I'm going to see the fellas.
Ugh, just ridiculous.
They should have had another woman, basically.
You know, Mike is basically like, he got his bags, he's gonna stay, and he's headed out to see the guys. And like, how just the overall audacity for him to show up knowing that Sheila and her husband are here. But you know, that's why he's here, quite frankly.
What the hell is he doing here? Who?
Hey, fellas!
Are you serious?
Mike shows up outside, and all the guys are sitting there talking. They're like, well, what? Is that Mike? And then Mike shows up, and it's like, what are you doing here, bro?
What are you doing here, Mike?
He's like, my portion of the timeshare.
I'm part of the timeshare.
And as soon as Troy sees Mike, he puts his sunglasses on and does a Sheila, basically trying to ignore him and act like he doesn't see him.
Yeah.
But Mike will not be ignored. He's like, hello, Sheriff. Congratulations on the baby, you know?
Hello, Sheriff.
What's up?
Congratulations on the baby.
And did you name him Mike Jr.? Like, Mike is just so despicable.
Well,
You name Mike Jr.?
I wonder what women think of Troy and how he reacted to Mike and this whole situation.
You know, you might have been able to do that had you taken care of your business the first time.
I think that Troy played it cool, and that was the right thing to do because he's trying not to set it off. They didn't spent their last. If he gets in a brawl with Mike and they got to leave tonight, that's going to be a problem.
But Sheriff, don't you worry, man. It's all good.
I ain't worried.
So he's just trying to play it cool, and he seems like a cool guy anyway. And so, you know, he's just trying not to set it off, but Mike is pushing him, which is the whole point of what Mike does. Did you name him Mike Jr.? And so then he's like, you might have been able to do that had you taken care of your business the first time and whatever. So like, he's not satisfied. And the question that I wonder is, remember when we were discussing them before, whether or not maybe Troy and Mike could have eventually gotten cool with one another if, you know, it was like, all right, so Troy married Sheila, Mike went on with Trina, and then they could just be cordial, not like friends or anything, but just cordial, right? They could coexist in this, you know, group of couple groups, right? But Mike would not let that happen. He wouldn't let it happen before. We saw how he was talking at the banquet. You married my ex, you know, and all of that. And, you know, so, because Sheriff Troy walks up.
Congratulate him. You know, him and Sheila got married.
Right.
And then, you know, he's all like, he married my ex.
He married my ex.
To you and Sheila.
Married my ex.
I don't know. What do you think about the way Troy reacted?
He act like a little punk.
Where you going?
Gonna check on my wife.
This dude just comes straight up with the disrespect, and these little quips back supposed to just make it seem like he's just doing something. But that wasn't hard enough. Like, you need to say something else.
So what do you think should have happened? Like, if you were going to play this out and Troy was
Okay.
going to not be a punk, what
Let's
would
see.
happen?
Mike came up, and what did he say? Mike said something about how you doing, Troy?
He
or,
said, hello, Sheriff.
Hello, Sheriff.
Congrats on the baby. Yeah.
Yeah, but he said something after that. The disrespectful stuff,
Mhm.
congrats on the baby. Yeah, appreciate it. And then he say, oh, did you name him Mike Jr.?
Right.
No, I wouldn't give my son a bitch name. You know what I'm saying?
You can't
Why
say
would I
that.
name my son after a bitch made ass nigga? The fuck? That's how it's gonna go. Who's shooting blanks? Why would a nigga who's shooting blanks have a junior? You know what I'm like? Come on. That's you gotta go
Okay.
hard, but the writer wanted to take it easy on him, or I don't know, make Troy look like a nice, respectable man. Like, and then he just walked off and stuff after he kept going, nah.
Yeah,
man.
he was like, and he was like, where you going?
But that's that whole, when they go low, we go high.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, I feel that there's a thing where a person, could Troy have been the guy that was so sweet and so nice, but that, you don't want to bring out the junkyard dog in him, right? But he's nice otherwise. Why couldn't he have been that? But in this moment, his response was like, okay.
Yeah.
But there's the point where I always wish that like Troy would have just been a little more aggressive. Kind of like when Mike was talking to Sheila all in her face at the retreat. I mean, not at the retreat, at the banquet.
Come on, Sheila, don't be like that.
What do you want, Mike? I'm trying to listen to Patricia.
I feel like Troy could have turned around and been like, can I help you? Like,
But Troy pulled the sitcom run up the stairs thing.
shut up.
He's like, go and check on my wife.
Well,
how is that
way.
a dig for somebody who didn't really
Or
want her,
how
though?
Red ran across the street.
Yeah.
You my boy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
In Friday. Okay, for real. I'm not going to rag on it because I feel like I'm not blaming Troy.
No.
I'm blaming Tyler Perry because I feel like you done changed the character and I don't like the changes I'm seeing thus far.
Yeah, but that was him. Like, he was the guy who had to come back at the banquet or whatever. He had comebacks. So that's
Yeah.
just what he does.
So he was consistent in the comebacks, but it was, given the situation, it was kind
It
of
wasn't
weak.
at the level that was given to him.
Man, you done let this dude speak on your wife and your child.
Yeah.
Like, no. So Troy leaves. He's going to check on his wife. And Mike is trying to, like, still be a cohesive group with these other guys. Oh, come on, because the other guys are like, yeah, we're leaving too.
We going in the house. All right, come on, Marcus.
Nah, man.
Everybody hates Mike is basically the way this ends. But my thing is, why y'all just didn't tell Mike to go? Again, this is the
Second
same
time.
question we had after the first movie. You show up with Trina, you foul. Why y'all didn't tell him? Why didn't you put Mike's butt out? Tell him to go. But they won't do it this time either. And Troy might not be in the right position to say, hey, you have to leave because everybody else is there and, he's lesser in the friend group and all. But like, come on, Terry got something to say about everything else, but Terry just gonna laugh it off. Gavin and all y'all just sat up there and, and in this situation, Mike is the foul one.
Yeah.
Mike betrayed
So-
all y'all sitting around at this circle.
So should the other guy say something?
Yes.
Hmm.
They should have been like, man, somebody should have just pulled Mike over and been like, look, Mike, you got to go,
Trying
man.
to
Nobody
antagonize
wants
this
you
guy.
here.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you here. We wouldn't have a movie, but like somebody's got to be
You would still have a
reasonable.
movie.
Somebody's got to be reasonable. And none of these characters, none of these men are reasonable in this situation. They're all quick to just be like, oh, well, And then, Mike come out dogging Angela. You talking about this man's wife up in his face like it's nothing. Mike is disrespectful. Just such a scoundrel.
He's not staying.
He can't stay. He can't.
So they're all sitting downstairs now. All the couples, everyone except Mike and Troy are there. And so Sheila's there with her friend couples, and they're all talking about, well, and the women are expressing like, Mike got to go. He got to go. They all say he has to go. The men are like, what are we going to do? Let's be rational.
Sheila, we can try to control him.
Yeah, no, we all remember Colorado.
Terry is talking about we could try to control him and yeah.
Right, we are adults. We can handle this. Come on.
I don't want to hear it.
Bruh.
We really need to be rational about this.
Rational.
This is supposed to be like the greatest amongst us, right? All high achievers, basically the talented 10th, and they can't come up with a good plan to, basically tell this guy to get out.
Tell this fool he got to go.
And then I think it was Gavin talking about, you're a lawyer. You can't tell him he can't stay.
Hey, you're a lawyer. He paid his money. We can't tell him he can't be here.
You can talk to him and, all you got to do is, hey, as a group, we're going to talk to this guy. Hey, bruh, we don't want you here. We think you should leave. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, and then if he won't leave, then you shun him. You don't include him in any group activities. He come around, you go somewhere else, and he gonna feel so unwelcomed. He may just leave on his own. But it's something you have to do instead of just like, we're gonna just be cordial, include him in everything, and act like nothing's wrong because we're adults and rational. And if we're not rational, then we're ghetto.
Yeah, like that's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. No, and I'm surprised none of these women were like to their husbands, like, get him out of here. What you mean we gonna be rational?
Rational. It is rational to not just include the guy. Everybody has agreed that he shouldn't be here. So it's quote, have an intervention. Mike, nobody wants you here, bruh. Yeah. If I go somewhere and 8 people come to me and be like, "Hi, we don't want you here. You're making everybody uncomfortable." I'm not staying there, bro.
Yeah. And I think Mike would have left. I really do think Mike would leave if they all asked him to leave. But the thing is, he knows he's being a thorn in the side, but he's just like, all right, fine. I'll be that because you're not making me go.
Like all these people couldn't come up with anything besides just act like it's not happening.
It's foolishness.
So I guess he's staying.
We're not going to give him any power.
Then Sheila's like, well, I guess he's staying at this point. So it's like she's let down by her friends again. Then Diana's all like, we're not going to give him any power. Wait, what?
You're
giving him power by letting him sit up in your face and play in your face. Hello? I'm outraged by this whole, and I done paid money to be here. Oh no. But then if it isn't already bad enough for Sheila, Sheriff Troy walks down those stairs and he's like, can I talk to you for a minute? He got that look on his face. You already know.
Talk to you for a minute.
It's not going to be good.
It's so like him.
I don't care nothing about that.
So when they get in the room, Sheila is all flustered because Mike is there. And she's like, I ain't telling him to come. I don't know what's going on. He like, I don't care nothing about that. So he's saying he don't care about Mike. He says, why did you have to tell them that we spent our last?
Why'd you have to tell them that? That we spent our last?
Because that's one of the things that Sheila said when she was downstairs with the group, like as to why Mike should go.
We spent our last to be here. We're not leaving.
Guys, come on. Let's everybody calm down.
Sheriff Troy is also like, I don't want them to know that.
Baby, I don't want them to know that. Have you told them how hard it is for us right now?
And they have this back and forth about everything. But at the end, she's like, they're our friends. And he's like, nah, they're your friends.
They're our friends.
They're your friend. I barely know them.
And I don't want them all in our business.
And I don't want them all in our business. I definitely don't want that damn fool to know.
Trust me, she says, they're really good people.
But trust me, they're really good people.
I don't want them in our business.
These the same people that sat up and sat in your face while your husband was cheating with his side hoe sitting right at the table with you.
And right now they're like, let's not tell Mike to leave. It's just...
let her ex-husband sit up in here and harass her and her new husband. And it's all good with us. Trust me, they're really good people. And he's like, I don't want them in our business. I'm serious. And I think that Troy has it's not even about if they were friends. They have proven that they're very gossipy and that your business will be out there. And
he was at that table in the first film.
Yeah, he don't like how they operate. And I can't blame him. I cannot blame Troy for that. And he's like, I'm serious. He got to put his foot down because Sheila is over here acting with her head in the clouds like she doesn't see what's going on with her friends. I would be pissed if what do you mean he's staying? Like y'all done decided I got to live with this. It ain't y'all who have to live with that mess. It's not equal and it's not fair. So yeah, the troubles are brewing.
Nothing. Hey, why didn't Troy come?
You sit next to our house guest over there.
So the guys are all out on a fishing excursion. Well, the guys minus Troy, because Mike done took Troy's place on the fishing trip.
Yeah. And someone asked, why didn't Troy come?
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody starts laughing and stuff. You're sitting right next to him,
A
to
house
Mike.
guest, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So does the timeshare include the boat time, you know? And why did they allow Mike to be there? We just talked about it, right? So y'all like, oh, we're going to go out and do things with Mike. And Troy was absolutely right that they aren't his friends because they are Mike's friend, right?
Yep.
They're here fishing with Mike. And to exclude Troy, basically, it's what happens. You like, hey, Mike, come on, let's go. We're going to do this. But why are y'all including him if you really don't want him there?
That's exactly it. So you just trying to play both ends against the middle, and you foul for that, all y'all. You know. But one thing we did find out about Mike, because we had questions before, like what was his profession. And so Mike talks about the, financial issues and whatever in the world and whatever, and that his firm held.
How'd you guys make it out in the market? Oh, my firm held, man.
So it seems like he's in finance. Maybe he's a stockbroker or something. He talked about somebody who, basically off themselves or whatever as a result of this market crash, et cetera. So maybe he's a stock, he's in stocks. And then he talked about the fact that, I need to tell Sheila about that because we had dinner with him or whatever.
In fact, I got to tell Sheila about that because we had dinner with him a couple times.
So somebody that they knew in their former life. And he goes all into this whole thing about, he makes the proclamation that Sheila, that she misses me.
Whatever. I don't care what y'all say. Sheila missed me. Wow. Look, we had some good times.
And then he confesses, I miss Sheila. I don't know what the hell I was thinking letting her go.
Yeah.
I miss her, okay? I miss her. Hold on a second. I just don't know what the hell I was thinking letting her go.
And that's why he's here. And none of these guys can get it that, he's saying he missed Sheila and that's why he's here because Sheila is happily married, and we're excluding Troy and hanging with the guy who's basically just here because he's just trying to squeeze back in between and get with Sheila.
Yeah, he's like interrupting her happiness and then, or trying to. And then he's like, I was looking back in my life and how you find that old girl that you dogged out, blah, blah, blah.
Find that old girl that you dogged out. You wish you knew then what you know now. That's all.
He should have brought up the 80-20 rule.
Oh my gosh, that would have just sealed it. But the guys are all telling him like she's happily married now, And then was it Gavin who's like she's happily married now in spite of the fact that he hasn't found a job.
Happily married in spite of the fact that he hasn't found a job yet.
Like these are some of the most gossipy. Why did you have to say that, Gavin?
Don't tell him that.
He don't got no job. Where he lay on the couch? He jobless.
Why did you have to put so like you really aren't, like you just said, you are not Troy's friend if this is, you're going to divulge this kind of information to Mike and you know how Mike is. Yeah. Like that just wasn't even right.
He's okay with Mike being here, but
the ladies are out having a massage and they're discussing things. And
he got mad because I said we spent our last.
And the first thing that Sheila says to her friends pretty much is that Troy was upset because she told the group that they had spent their last to be there on this trip. And I'm like, girl, are you just not getting the point? The point is that he don't want you divulging all y'all business. But the first thing you do at the first opportunity is you start going and venting back to them about your business. Maybe you could respect the fact that because it's not just your business, it's y'all's business. Maybe you could just pull that back a little bit, respect the fact that he doesn't want certain things discussed. You just keep letting the runaway train roll. And this is not going to lead to something good.
Yeah, but what she also said was Troy's okay with Mike being here. No, he's not. Like what?
That's how she, well, maybe she interpreted that because he said, I'm not even worried about that or something. Right. But I mean, in the hierarchy of things, he was more mad about her divulging their personal business. But at the end of the day, he didn't like that Mike was there.
Yeah. What is Troy doing at this moment? The men are on the boat fishing. They're over here having women spa day.
Troy is in the room by himself.
Broke. Bruh.
I'm not laughing, but but like when you really put it into perspective like that, girl, listen, you wanted a good man.
Does she know Troy is just back at the beach house?
I don't know.
No, she wasn't wrong, but it is different. Well, than when you were married to Mike.
Oh, I know that.
So then it comes out pretty much because one of them says, you know, it's different than when you were married to Mike, about financially different.
And he probably feels really bad that he can't give you what you used to.
Troy doesn't have as much money as Mike. I mean, so if that was just alluded to in the past, it has been made a fact as this discussion goes on.
But I never made him feel bad about that. I don't care about that stuff.
And then Sheila's like, but I never made him feel bad about that and blah, 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 you know. So
you did by telling everybody.
Yeah, difficult. And I think that Sheila is messing up. You know, and in the first one, it was like Sheila was this sympathetic character who, you know, you're just like, man, this guy is dogging her out. She gets this new opportunity. She feels bad about herself, but you can understand why. And in this one, she feels a lot better about herself, right? She's got her confidence and everything, but she's operating in a space where it's like, girl, are you paying attention to what's happening? And some of this you're bringing on yourself.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it was in the first one, right? She was just oblivious to what was going on and all of that. So, you know, I guess that's kind of in line with who her character is.
So Dr. Patricia is actually giving advice talk to Angela about her relationship with Marcus, but she makes this statement: when people change in relationships, it causes panic.
When people tend to change in relationships, it causes us to be afraid, and then we panic.
And it's interesting because Sheila's face at that exact moment is kind of like, So in her mind, I think Sheila is feeling like maybe Troy changed. That's how I interpreted that look.
That he's panicking? That he's
or
not
that
secure?
he's panicking, that he's not secure, that he has changed.
That's the problem when people take quotes and take them literally and then try to apply it to every situation. Like you see all the time when somebody just randomly posts something on social media. This is what they're doing. They're just taking a little sliver of what somebody said that's out of context and everything and apply it to a very specific situation and then try to apply it elsewhere in their life. And then now I got to cut everybody off.
What?
She just took this phrase and now you're just applying it to a situation that doesn't apply to.
Yeah. She's applying it to her own life because of what Patricia said to somebody else.
You took a phrase and then you just take it to quote be gospel and then apply it to things. Like just don't do that. I would say never.
Well, and in this
even
case,
like what I just said when I said don't do that ever, don't do it ever.
In this case, I think that what she should do is she should have just gotten, since you're telling your business anyway, just go ahead and get your specific remedy from Dr. Patricia. And then you would know, right? But instead, you're, you know, kind of like your wheels are turning in your own mind and you're trying to apply what she done told you about Angela.
Yeah.
And Angela Marcus' situation is very different.
We're going to talk about it in Patricia's video, but Patricia is out here ruining relationships because with the book, Angela took some logic that she had in there and applied proper logic to her situation about the password. And now Sheila is doing the same thing. It's like, oh, Troy must be insecure because based on I'm a doctor's logic, then this must hold true.
Patricia been ruining relationships since at least 2007 when the first movie came out.
Oh, give us board, man.
Come on, baby, you gotta have more than that.
No, I don't.
Later that night, they're all playing spades, all the couples and Mike. Sheila and Troy are, you know, partners or whatever, playing spades and trying to figure out how many books he has. And he's like, oh, you know, I want to go board or whatever. And Mike is behind Troy and he's like, oh man, you know, you got a good hand and you know, basically that he should go over more than board.
I'm looking at least 3 books in your hand right there, sure.
Mike. It just creates this whole dynamic because now he's behind him trying to tell him what to do with his hand.
Look, you got a hand like that, you got to know what to do with it.
I guess if anybody knows what to do with a good hand, it would be you.
And then Sheila jumps in and she's like, you know, let that man do whatever. So she tries to tell him off. And it just doesn't work.
So, Troy, how's life in Atlanta?
And what I feel like, in a way, is the fact that Sheila spoke up and continues to try to speak up to protect Troy, understandably, is like almost emasculating him a little bit in the situation.
Life is good. Thank you.
I was talking to him.
Yeah, but why is Mike there? And why didn't Troy say anything?
Please, let's play cards. Come on.
He can't speak for himself.
Because Troy didn't respond, so she felt she had to say something.
That's true,
so
too.
He emasculated himself. Right. And then he got his little quip and Angela's like, ooh, I like him, you know, and all this bull.
I like this guy. Sheila, hey, you quick on your feet, buddy. That's right.
But Gavin tried to say, come on, let's go take a walk or whatever, and Mike doesn't want to.
Why don't we go take this walk? Why don't we do that?
I'll skip ahead and say, once Troy really got into him, then Mike decided, all right, yeah, I guess we'll go for that walk and leave now. If y'all would have done what we talked about minutes ago, and Mike would not be here.
Exactly.
Like, why is y'all sitting around playing cards with Mike there? Everywhere Mike goes, all right, let's get up and go somewhere else. He ain't gonna get the picture, or say something, because all of this stuff he's talking about, house life in Atlanta and, all this how's the job search.
How's the job search?
Nobody says anything. At the dinner in part 1, everybody was like, no, stop now, Mike. You're getting dangerous. Don't tell her right now, Angela. They always had something to say to the person. But when it's Mike saying something in this situation, then everyone is just completely quiet and allowing him to just do whatever.
Right, because he just busts out and asks, how's the job search? This man doesn't have a job. And you're like, how's the job search? On the boat, you were like, what is he doing? Sleeping on the couch? That kind of thing. So like almost suggesting something about the Sheriff Troy's character in this situation. And so then Troy is pissed and he lets him have it in the Sheriff Troy kind of way.
I'm not the kind of cat that's going to sit here and act like I like you, because I don't.
And he's basically like, leave me and mine the hell alone and nurse your drink.
I don't even like the fact that you're here, but since you are here, sit there.
And you could see that he ain't playing with him no more.
Nurse your little fruit juice and leave me and mine the hell alone.
When he saw that he wasn't playing with him, then that's when Mike backs off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had nothing. All right. I'm out.
Is everybody just scared that Mike is going to reveal more secrets that he ain't let out yet?
I don't know. But like every secret Mike gets, he's going to say.
Yeah, but
So
how would he be
know.
getting secrets at this point?
That's the whole point. Why is he even in your presence? So what's so crazy is after that, the look on Sheila's face after Troy tells Mike off is kind of like this look of satisfaction, like, see, you got what you deserve, right?
Appreciate it.
But then the look on Troy's face, oh my gosh, Troy's nostrils was flared. He was pissed. And he looked at her, or whatever. But what's funny is when she was telling him off earlier, when Sheila was telling Mike off earlier in the conversation, Troy looked at her, smiled, and winked. So like, it was kind of like, yeah, baby, you telling her, but then when he had to tell him off, then he's like totally lost his shit. He's mad.
Yeah.
The fact that after it was, Mike says what's unacceptable, which is insinuating that Troy doesn't have a job. Everybody sits around looking flabbergasted, like they can't believe he said what he said. Oh my goodness. Mike, you know how he rolls. This is why he shouldn't be there.
Troy's outside in his drawers, just looking over at the beach and stuff. And then he goes back into bed. And, Sheila comes into the bed and she talks about, I didn't say anything to him.
Babe, I didn't say anything to him, right?
Think that makes me feel good?
Talking about she didn't tell Mike that, he was having trouble finding a job and stuff like that. And Troy responds, you think that makes me feel good? Because it's not about whether or not you told him. And like, I think she know this, but I guess in a moment like this, you just want to say anything to make things better for you, right? So then she's like, I know you've been trying. So like, that's supposed to make him feel good too.
I'm sorry, babe. I know you've been trying.
Don't be all
because
right.
whether it's about about ambition or not, and then don't be mad.
Just don't be mad, okay?
I'm not. I just want to go to sleep.
Because it's about how he responds to you. He's mad. It makes you feel a certain way too, and the way y'all interact changes.
Yeah, well, I mean, because he's all depressed and sad and acting funny, and you're supposed to be on vacation. And, Troy does respond to her that he's not mad or whatever. But, I mean, obviously he's salty. Whether you want to characterize it as mad, hurt, or whatever, he ain't right. His vibe ain't right. And that's causing problems. And I'm just like, he came and got back in his bed, this little full-size bed. You know how it is on trips or these, bed and breakfast type places. They always have these like tight full-size beds, just big enough for two people. But then, not big enough to really have super comfort, and it's forcing them to have to be close to each other. even though he's salty, so he like turns his back and everything and gets in the bed, try to act like nothing is wrong. Better get that off your chest.
I am not going through what I went through with Mike.
Continue on in bed. Sheila is not having it because he's like, oh, you know, he think he just finna lay down after he act like that.
Not talking to me, not touching me, not looking at me.
One of the things said early is, I ain't Mike.
I ain't Mike.
Well, you know what? You're sure acting like him.
In response to her saying, you know, how he was acting funny and I'm not going through what I went through with Mike with you. I ain't Mike. Yeah, well, you're acting like Mike. That's what she tells him.
You are putting me in a bad headspace, baby, and it is not good.
And so again, we know how well that line went over before in the first movie. I ain't Mike. Yes, I ain't Mike. That is was the great thing.
I think it still applies here. What the hell is she talking about?
What the hell are you talking about?
We saw what Mike was doing. Mike was cheating, brought your friend to the vacation with you right there and was smashing her, so verbally abusing you and all of this. But you try to say that this is him being like Mike? What the?
And so she goes on to say that it's because he's not touching her and basically being affectionate like he normally is. And
I'm not going anywhere, Sheila.
Why aren't you looking at me? Why aren't you touching me?
She tells him, you put me in a bad headspace and it's not good. And she tries to bring it back around and say, we're, in this together.
And I know you haven't found a job, but we are in this together.
And he's like, I don't want to talk about this.
Can you please let this go?
No.
I don't want to talk about this right now.
And then she just flips, right? So what really happens, because she tells him, if this is too much for you to deal with, then just go.
If this is too much for you to deal with, go.
Because I'm not finna do this again.
I'm not going to do this with you or anybody else. You got me?
Right?
Yeah.
And so she was triggered. That's really all this amounts to. She was triggered because of him not being affectionate to her.
Why aren't you acting like my husband?
And being upset in the moment into reminding her of how it was with Mike when he was rejecting and talking crazy about her. And now she's feeling like, okay, maybe this means this is going to all fall apart.
Good. I'm just trying.
She said he put her in a bad headspace. Just imagine, this is a response to her putting him into a bad headspace where he then uprooted his whole life, moved to Atlanta with her, and then can't find a job. And then you just go around telling everybody, to where the abusive ex is antagonizing him with that information in front of everybody who is her friend. And while he's an outsider and everybody is still friends with the ex-husband.
And she's salty that he don't want a spoon.
And now she's in a bad headspace.
Yeah, they both in a bad headspace. But I mean, this is the consequence, right? This is the consequence of the sequence of events that occurred.
Yeah, but
now I'm not saying everything is Sheila's fault, because it's not. But dad, girl, you should be reading the room.
Yeah, and then she's like, why aren't you acting like my husband? Like, what? I don't even know what that's supposed to mean.
Why aren't you cuddling me and all the stuff that you normally do, right? Why aren't you being affectionate?
Yeah, he's just having to pay for Mike.
Which I'm sure he's had to do the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Because when you think about all the baggage that Sheila came with from the beginning, how Mike had done her, like he'd been having to pay for Mike the entire time.
Mike has been, it's always like this, right? The person before they're getting away with everything, and then the next one who's just nowhere close to what this previous one was, now he gets all the trouble and all the problems and all the so-called lip and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And why aren't you acting like my husband, when the other dude was just going around doing everything, living it up?
Now, in full Tyler Perry fashion, because I really hated what Tyler Perry did or was doing to the character of Troy. But I guess maybe I could look at it differently, because we did ask a poll question. We asked whether or not this movie changed how you felt about Sheriff Troy. And 65% of people said no, 35% of people said yes. And it didn't change how I felt about Troy, but a couple of people brought up a really good point. They said it changed how they felt about Sheila. And I agree. I feel like Sheila is a little bit different, and maybe we get to see who she really kind of would be outside of all of the abuse and stuff.
Yeah, then maybe the tables turn when you're not getting abused, and you just maybe start to get into abuse.
Come here. Don't fight me. Come here. Come here.
They continue their conversation. Troy turns back into Sheriff Troy from the first movie. And he's like, come here, stop fighting me. You know, like, come on over here. Let me give you some a little affection.
Whatever. I don't think you understand what this is like for a man like me. I'm so used to providing and all this.
I don't think you understand what this is like for a man like me. I've always been able to provide.
And they say the money from the sale of the store just ain't cutting it.
It's been months, and the money from the sale of the store just ain't cutting it.
We got to stop and talk about that. He sold the general store, the store that meant so much to his father.
Hey.
Hey.
It's not long before we understand that Sheila is working at Sheriff Troy's general store.
Thanks for getting me this job.
You kidding me?
And Troy tells us, basically, the store wouldn't even be open.
If it wasn't for you, this place wouldn't even be open again.
It was his father who was passed on, his father's dream to kind of get that store back open and up and running.
Now, my daddy loved this store. It's his lifelong dream, this place.
And because of the work that Sheila's been able to put in, he's able to kind of continue his family legacy with the general store. Like, I don't think Sheila even recognizes the sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm just stressed. Doesn't have anything to do with you, okay?
But why is her response, you have to communicate that with me?
I just need some time.
You have to communicate that with me.
All we heard was him talking about, don't tell these people our business and we spending our money, and he's communicating it the entire time.
Well, maybe she meant communicate why he was stressed out, right? Because he says, I'm stressed out. It doesn't have anything to do with you. I just need time, right? Because he's used to providing. So this is like this is messing with his ego, right? You know, and he wants to deal with it however he needs some time, and it ain't got nothing to do with her.
Context clues.
Okay.
He ain't got no job and he ain't providing. This is what he been talking about the whole time.
This is true. So then they get into the Tyler Perry. I think he wanted this to be a quotable. So Sheila says, the hardest thing in the world is, you know, when you have a good man after you've had a bad one.
Maybe the hardest thing in the world is to have a good man when you've had a bad one.
And then Roy comes back with, basically, I think it's harder to have a woman who has a good man after she's had a bad one.
No. Yeah, a good woman.
Yeah.
Who's had a bad man, yeah.
Oh, it's hard to have a good woman who's had a bad man.
Yeah.
Whatever the quote is.
I think it's harder to have a good woman after she's had a bad man.
Either way.
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. But the kicker is Sheila turns around and says, well, you know, when you blame me and punish me
for loving
then you make me want to do something. When you punish me for loving you, you make me want to do something worth the punishment.
When you punish me, you make me want to do something worth the punishment.
Sis.
Like, no.
Can you feel me on that?
What?
You want to get punished?
Then Troy don't even pick up on the foolishness, or maybe he does. And then he's just like, oh, I've been a bad boy.
I've been a bad boy. I think I need to be punished.
Bro, that was
so
lame.
let sex just fix this for the moment. Plus, Troy probably was tired of listening to her at this point because he already said he already said he wanted to, you know, he didn't feel like talking, and now they had to go through this whole thing. So maybe he just distracted her to shut her up in the moment.
Because she's like, oh, you don't touch me and all that. Okay, I'll touch you. Nah, good
Come
night.
on, let's bone. Y'all go to the comments. Did Troy say that weird line like, oh, I've been a bad boy, to just divert attention to sex so she could get the intimacy she wanted, so they could kind of make up and whatever? Or do you think that, you know, he just wanted her to shut up?
Wait, what? That's the same option twice. What?
Okay, what should the options be?
Ain't no options. Why did Troy deliver that line to make Sheila shut up?
Mike is downstairs in the kitchen early morning, just having a cup of coffee. And who comes down to the kitchen to cook for her husband but Sheila?
Of course.
He's like, oh, it's Sheila. And she by herself. Let me take my opportunity. So, you know, he comes in. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning, Sheila.
And Sheila's looking like, oh, my God, this guy. And so she's getting the stuff out to cook and everything. Sheila should have turned on her heels when she saw him and went back on up to her room. But she doesn't do that. And
he
so
acts oblivious and say, what the hell are you doing here? If you're trying to start some mess, then blah.
What the hell are you doing here? Are you here trying to start some mess?
Clearly, he was there to start. Like, what else was it? You've been here for a day already. You've seen what he's been doing.
Yeah.
If you're trying to start some mess, it's not going to work, okay?
So she starts to actually engage with him, which is a mistake too.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
You know, and she's just like, I'm over you.
I'm over it, and I am over you.
Then he just goes in. Is it really that easy to get over someone?
Is it really that easy to get over someone? Especially after all the time we shared?
Especially after all the time we shared. And then he tries to take her down memory lane, right? Because this is what they always gonna try to do. People who
Which is why she shouldn't have just been sticking around down there.
Exactly. He trying to manipulate. So he's like, let me just try to remind you of all the good times we had. Oh, we broke into that store. The first time we made love, it was the best.
Do you remember the night we broke into the clothing store? It's the first time we made love.
And I've been sitting at home thinking about all the good times we had.
I've been sitting at home thinking about all the good times.
How many songs are written about just this very thing? I've been sitting at home thinking about all the good times we had because I was a fool. He gives this whole example of, you know, this first apartment or whatever that they got, and he's talking about the colors.
Do you remember the first apartment we rented? Well, you painted the kitchen orange. You remember that?
You know, he trying to flex on how he remembers all the fine details or whatever. And she's like, nah, the kitchen was yellow.
It was yellow. I remember it.
And I noticed because of that hole that was in the wall from where you pushed me through it.
Because of that hole in the wall, the one when you pushed me into it.
And I know about the towel. Yeah, I remember that because my nose bled on it and I couldn't get it to stop bleeding or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember the pink tile. My nose bled on it.
Before, we never knew that he was physically abusive to her.
And I was so depressed.
And I want to know, do the other friends know that he was doing this to her? Since they know everything else. And if not, then that means she didn't want them to know. Then she can understand why Troy wouldn't want them to know about his job, right? Because I guess it's you feel some sort of embarrassment, whether it's right or not, right?
Yeah.
But then it takes me back to when Troy said, I ain't Mike. And then she's like, you're acting like it. Like, you equating this with getting beat?
I just think there's just the dysfunction. Different things could trigger people who have, you know, gone through that type of abuse.
Right.
And it's not going to necessarily be logical.
You better not tell me that if I know that this man been beating you and you tell me you're acting like that guy.
Yeah.
No, we got a problem. What in the world? Think about it. You like, I ain't Jeffrey Dahmer. Where you acting like it? What? You compare me to this guy?
People?
Yeah,
Exactly.
like come on now.
And then I'm just like, man, Mike, at this point, I'm like, okay, are you truly going for like the second place prize behind Mr. from The Color Purple? Because at least Mr. left Celie alone after she left him. Like you will not leave her alone. And so when she's pissed off with him and everything, and she says that to him,
And look, I miss you.
Please stop.
you could see his wheels turning, and he looks like, and he apologizes too.
I don't know what came over me, okay? Just a fool. I am so sorry.
And he's like, you know, I'm so sorry. I miss you. He tries to touch her and she yanks away.
Look, Sheila.
Hey.
And she tells him, you are my past and there ain't no future in it.
You are my past and there ain't no future in it, okay?
Get your ass out this kitchen. That's what she should have told him when she saw him the first day.
That's what they all should have said.
Get your ass out of this kitchen. Go.
But
You know.
I need to know if the friends knew this because they going on the fishing trips with him, laughing and stuff about Troy not being on the boat with them and all this other stuff.
And he a whole beater of his woman.
And then the women too. So it takes me like, that's the problem with sequels. I know they probably don't have a sequel in mind when they're doing the first one a lot of the times, but they would like, don't tell Sheila nothing. And y'all knew that she was getting actually beat on. And then the dude brought the new woman over who was supposedly the friend.
Listen, go to the comments and let us know. Do you think that Sheila's friends knew that Mike was taking it to the bridge every night, that he was just really doing this to her? Do you think they knew that? And does that change how you feel about him if you think they did?
A little later.
What is this?
So the ladies are all out on the beach and they're getting in and out the water and whatever. And then Angela is coming out, and then all of a sudden this powder just hits her in the face. And it turns out that it is the ashes that this older couple played by Louis Gossett Jr. and Cicely Tyson were trying to spread of their dead friend on the beach.
These are her ashes.
And so she's freaking out, but the ladies are introducing themselves to this couple.
We should invite them to dinner.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, would you join us for dinner?
And they say, oh, we want to invite you to our
Why Did I Get Married?
It's when we share our Why Did I Get Married stories.
Yeah.
So this is the same. This is the only clue I get that this is the same as all the other trips, like with the study.
Exactly. So then the ladies, one interesting thing about this scene is that the ladies start to introduce themselves. Patricia's like, hi, I'm Patricia Agnew.
Patricia Agnew.
Diane. Bob.
I'm Diane Bob.
Diane Bob.
And we got to say, look, for the longest, we didn't catch that their last name was Bob. And we kept saying, why they keep calling Terry Dr. Bob?
Anyway. Intuitively, you're like, yeah, that's the last name. But just to have a last name Bob just don't click.
It was just, it just didn't quite click. But then Sheila, when she's introducing herself, she's like, hi, I'm Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
So Sheila don't have a last name. She's not Sheila, Sheriff Troy or whatever. She just Sheila.
Sheila Troy.
I don't know. But it's interesting. So.
Yeah, I don't know why. But maybe that's the class thing too, right? Like, I think, that's the first time we probably brought it up. I think it's changed over maybe the past 60 years where, certain classes stop introducing themselves with their full name. So maybe that's an indicator.
Could be. We talked a lot about class in our series that we did on Why Did I Get Married, but that could be a clue. And even in this movie, and we'll talk about it more later, you have still terms like ghetto being thrown around or whatever, especially by Terry.
But that's what the thing about class too is if you're not in that class and your friends or whatever are going out doing all these vacation and going to restaurants and doing all these activities and you can't afford it, you're going to be extra broke trying to just hang out with your friends.
Trying to keep up, yeah.
Like, so that's one of the reasons that classes don't really mix in that way too. Economic class.
Sheila, Troy.
Troy gets up there and tells why he got married, and it's basically, he says it's simple, because I love this woman, and yeah.
Because I love this woman.
And then, all the couples are here, and they're doing their why I get married, and I'm like, again, why is Mike there?
Yeah, why is Mike there? And then, of course, when they call up Sheila and Troy, Mike has this look on his face, like,
Yeah. So then Sheila goes, and basically it sums up to she found the opposite of Mike.
There had to be an opposite, and I found that exact opposite.
So
she needed to love and to trust.
When I met Troy, it was his eyes, and that I could trust him.
But let's go back to what Troy said, though. He said that there was she had so much pain.
Behind her eyes was so much pain and truth.
And he wanted to help her and heal her and be her hero.
I wanted to help her, heal her.
Wanted to be a hero.
And then she turned out to be all of that for him and more as well.
She'd be all that for me.
She's my queen.
So it was reciprocated. But I think that when we asked the question in the first movie, like, okay, when was Troy, interested, and when was he making his moves, and what was going through his head that we didn't see expressed. Now we know that, it was really wrapped up in the hero. He was trying to be the hero. All of that, even though, so it was exactly what we thought it was. And he even said, she my queen.
Yeah.
I needed to trust and to love.
But then when Sheila was done, it's over. Found the exact opposite in Mike's size.
So the frame of reference is Mike.
Yeah. Bruh.
But yeah, why is Mike there? Why do you even have a chair? It would be a chair just for the older couple that's coming, and then for the 4 couples that's supposed to be there. How you wouldn't even have a chair out there.
Yeah.
Don't come over here. It's crazy.
We get up, and at the beginning, first off, I want to let y'all know that this is about couples. I don't know why Mike is here, why he got to listen to us. Why did Mike get married? I don't know. He just wanted to beat on Sheila. So let's start. Come on.
Yeah, because what was you really going to say in the moment?
Why did I get married to Sheila? Was I wanted to beat her, and then we got a divorce.
It just,
Come
not going to
on.
work out. So basically, the bombshell that drops in this discussion is that Patricia decides to announce that her and Gavin are getting a divorce. And so, like, how you gonna be announcing a divorce at the Why Did I Get Married conference? You know, like, what? But anyway, so that's what happens. We'll talk about that in detail in Patricia and Gavin's story. But moving right along.
Hey.
Hey.
Troy can't find a job. He come back home and he opens the refrigerator. He's dressed nice, got his little suit on. The light in the refrigerator is off, is broken or something. Maybe they can't afford to replace it. I'm just playing. But the light in the refrigerator is off and the microwave doesn't have a light on it too. I'm just looking at how the scene was set up and stuff. It's very dark in this place. No light on, but it's daytime, but it's not a lot of light coming in from the outside either. It's very, just a dark, dank scene. And
yeah,
I guess you did a good job, Tyler Perry. I see what you done there, bro.
Yeah. So he didn't get the job because then he says he was overqualified.
I didn't get it.
I'm sorry.
Overqualified.
My question is, you walking in from okay, how you know you didn't get the job? Because normally they don't tell you right on the spot that you didn't get the job.
Good thing you found out the same
later,
day.
They getting real quick in 2010.
He was like, hey, all right, yeah, we're done. Thank you. We'll be letting you know, but just so you know, you didn't get it. All right.
Yeah, that never
happens. He
happens.
gonna cry in the car. But then Troy talks about, oh man, the mortgage is due in both places.
I don't know what we're gonna do. The mortgage is due here and back home. We don't have the money.
And talking about how he gonna get the money because Sheila is like, hey, we need to go ahead and ask Angela or somebody for this money.
I'm going to borrow the money from Pat or Angela.
No, you're not.
Because we borrow from each other all the time.
You must not have heard what I said in the Bahamas. No.
Well, and I think what he was trying to do in this moment was she was like, oh, you got to communicate what's going on with you. So he's coming in, he's in a pissy mood and, he doesn't have the job. So he communicates to her, hey, the mortgage is due here and back home. I don't know what we're going to do. And then first thing she's like, swoop, I'm going to swoop in and try to save the day. I'm going to borrow this money from Pat or Angela. And he's like pissed with her about that. He's like, you must not have heard what I said. I done told you no.
I'm going to get the money. Okay?
Dang.
And he says, I'm going to get the money.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you need to get your pride out of this.
You really need to get your pride out of this.
I'll handle this.
Yeah, then she's like, I never seen you like this.
I've never seen you like this.
You never had financial issues with
That's
this
true.
guy.
And then, he's upset, but he's like, I'll handle this. The way I interpreted it is that he was not looking to her to come up with a solution. He was telling her so she would know why he was stressed out, which was her whole complaint when they were in the Bahamas, right? And so in this moment, she goes into, I'm about to solve this mode. Let's borrow this money from my friends or whatever. And he's just like, no.
Yeah.
And then he says, we should have never left Colorado.
Yeah,
I should have
agree
followed
with
my
him.
first mind.
We should have never left Colorado. I should have followed my first mind.
So one thing is you got to probably get set up on the other end before you just going. I know it sounds good, and in a lot of movies, it's we just uprooted our lives and went over here. Everything works out or the Lord works it out and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But one time, I was living in California and then how I ended up in Dallas was, I wanted to move there and I had a job, right, lined up. And I was like, yeah, so bam, now I can leave, right?
Yeah.
And then I get there and these motherfuckers ghosted me. Well, like seriously. And it's a huge company. I guess you could call them aerospace or something, but yeah, that's what they did.
So then you had to scramble.
It was Raytheon. So just so y'all know.
You naming names.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you had to scramble.
Yeah, but so I do think that maybe you should, it might feel good to. And then they had some money and stuff, but you still had the mortgage too.
Yeah.
At the other place. So I don't quite know about that one. Sometimes it makes sense to just be like, all right, we're going to go and see what happens. But, I think it is good to be like, all right, we're going to move to Atlanta. Let me just, so I put my resume out there.
Yeah. It just take a little bit of extra time. But I think also sometimes if you have like a savings or if you have some money, then you're figuring you have more of a cushion than you do because, man, you go blow through your savings so fast if you don't have money coming in at all.
Yeah.
You know, you could you could be like, I got savings of 100,000. I got savings of 50,000. That 50,000 will go like boom.
Yeah.
You know, especially depending, and
So-
you got to move, and you closing on a house and all this and that because they got a mortgage
Yeah.
in both places.
Was he not paying Sheila when she was working at the general store? Can you hire somebody to just, instead of selling the store? Because your income.
Well, he wasn't gonna be there to manage it, and maybe he just didn't want to
I
be
guess,
bothered
but
or
I'm
something.
saying for this not
that
to
could have
happen,
kept. Oh yeah, some cash.
you still
coming
have
in.
the money coming in, like, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
But maybe
it just
you couldn't
depends
afford
on
the
the
two
health.
mortgages.
Yeah.
With that one income.
Yeah, it could have been that, you know,
Yeah.
but so they're in there talking, and she's like, "You blaming me?"
So you blaming me for this, huh?
And then he's just like, "Damn it, give me some space." Like,
I'm gonna make some calls.
Troy.
Damn it, Sheila, give me some space.
he yells at her, and we never see Sheriff Troy yell, but he done yelled at her. He yelled at her louder than he yelled at Mike. He didn't even
Bruh.
yell at Mike.
Yeah. 'cause
And then
she's a woman.
she snapped. She's like, "Don't you ever talk to me like that." And then you hear the baby start crying in the back. Yeah.
Don't you ever talk to me like that again.
You know, and but I feel her like, listen, we got to have some decorum and some respect about how we get around. But she was also like on him. Like, bruh, let that man go on ahead about his business for a second. He done told you no. He done said what he had to say. You know, and here's the thing. Financial issues. If you're bringing in money, then it would make sense that you could be like, all right, I can, you know, work a
Borrow?
little bit of overtime
Oh.
or something like that. But she was a work at home mom. That's where her job was, to take care of the child, and she stayed at home. She was not working outside of the home at this point. Let him solve the money issue because he's the one that makes the money and brings the money in.
Maybe, but it ain't working out. So,
Maybe you could sell that
but see, that's part of
apartment
the
that
thing
Paco
with
had put the bars on.
Shut up. One of the things with you know, capitalism and stuff is it make it like it's a meritocracy, and it's not, because he can't so-called provide. It isn't on him all the way, right? But they make it seem
Right.
like I'm going to do this and the things that I do. No, it's the so-called market forces and all that other stuff is why somebody would be like, you're overqualified. No.
Yeah, and he's internalizing it, right? So
Yeah.
it's affecting how he feels about himself in the moment. So yeah.
Hmm.
So things are just getting worse and worse.
Hey, babe.
Hey.
I'm glad you called me.
Tyler Perry pulled the soul food, and Sheila asked her ex Mike to you know, get her current husband a job.
Yeah, just like Bird did Lim in Soul Food. So you done went to the arch nemesis and asked to help your man get a job. Like,
Yeah. And
Think I'm not man enough to find my own fucking job?
Sorry.
You fucking that nigga?
No.
then they met in person. Like, this could have been a phone. You just like you called and said, meet me. You can talk on the phone, but she wanted to see him.
oh my goodness, just what
Yeah.
a mess. You know, and he's all like, "How are you? I was shocked when I got your call. I knew you missed me." You know,
I was shocked when I got your call. I know you miss me.
Stop.
and his face hit the ground when she was like, "I only came because I need a favor."
Is that the only reason you came?
And so we find out that Mike is so high up on the rungs that he plays golf with the chief of police, and that he can make a phone call and help Troy get a job, which is the whole reason why she says she's there.
Because I need a favor.
What is it?
Troy's been trying to get a job, and can you help him?
Yeah.
And Mike don't want to, because he's like, Sheila, you know,
Sheila.
Just a yes or no.
but he agrees to do it, right? And then he asks her, "Is that the only reason you came?" Basically, she like, "Yeah." But Troy can't know
Well-
about this.
Troy cannot know about this, okay?
So you sitting over here and
you missed something.
What?
Like, she got up to leave and came back to further engage with him.
Well, no,
So
she said Troy can't know about this first.
It's really good seeing you. You look great.
And then he said he won't say a word, and she gets up to leave.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
And
It
then
was
she
good
went
seeing
back talking about, why are you being so nice? Bro, just
Yeah.
get away.
So
like,
she
he wants to
does.
engage with this guy. You called him
Mhm.
and said, hey, let's meet. And then you're about to leave and you come back. So why are you being nice? If you didn't think he would do it, then why would you even set this up? Like, it just ain't making sense to me.
And the other part is I wonder too, is you have a favor. Maybe you think you can convince him of the favor better in person. And also I do think there's a little bit of getting your lick back with this, because now she's aware that he kind of is interested. So she's going to try to use that to her advantage.
You knew that already from him showing up at the other place.
And she, is looking good and everything. And so, she's basically trying to turn the tables on him a little, and maybe it just feels good to get her lick back.
Yeah,
maybe that's part of the
probably,
motivation.
but why are you doing this? But she want to act some kind of way when he say that he miss her. Like, why else would he even show up to meet you? You knew that. Like, come on.
Yeah. So she's like, "What's wrong with you? Why you being so nice?" And he's like, "I made some bad decisions in my life, and I just want to fix them."
I made some bad decisions in my life, and I just want to fix them. That's all. I do miss you.
Oh God.
I miss you.
He keeps saying it. I miss you. I miss you. So like his motivations are clear, right? I want you back. I want that good thing. I want that old thing back. And
she like, get my husband a job. I don't know how I feel about that one.
I don't either.
I don't know. It depends how desperate times are.
Look, if it's gonna rely on something like that, we gonna have to be on food stamps.
So it's, don't ask him for a job. Don't ask friends for help. The Lord will make a way, or I'm just going to do it myself. Like, come on.
I mean, in a situation like that, it's like, all right, Troy said he didn't want
help, basically.
Yeah. But now you're helping him behind his back.
Yeah.
Which is still going against what he said he wanted. But then it's like with your ex who he has had words with. This isn't just a neutral ex. This is an ex that is, basically his arch nemesis.
Yeah.
And
who
it's
was
not
laying
right.
the smackdown on this woman.
Yeah. You just asking for trouble, girl.
But how well she locked up when they were married and stuff? Like, there is a world where she can know some of the same people. She could know the chief of police. Or is it, I guess the golf relationships, they don't necessarily meet, but maybe.
I mean, I don't know. But I guess she's just going to the closest point that she knows could probably get the job done, and that's Mike.
Yeah, but it sounds like, okay, he's been trying to get hired by, I don't know what city, but he's trying to get hired by the police department, and he's trying multiple times in multiple ways, and they're so-called giving him the runaround.
I go back to what you said in the beginning. Like, the calls should have already been put out before y'all even left Colorado. Your network of friends should have just been able to make a job happen, and that should be that.
Is this realistic? That an actual chief can't get a job as any sort of cop or security guard in Metro Atlanta?
Because he's supposedly overqualified. So I guess that was Tyler Perry's way of being like, okay, I'm going to account for the fact that he was overqualified. It wasn't that you didn't have any experience, but that's weird to me.
I don't know, because
he should have been able to get a job.
I think it's like realistic, where it'd be like, oh, you're a sheriff of a small town, so you are underqualified for this high level you think you are at.
To be a sheriff in Atlanta. Right. But or, whatever that county's near Atlanta.
Or whatever.
Fulton or one of these other ones. I don't know what to say on this, but you're right. I agree. It is a bit unrealistic. I think more importantly, it's crazy that she just did the soul food. So was this like just a quick borrowing of the soul food kind of thing? Like, that was a good dynamic, but
was it thought of from the beginning? Like, okay, we could just make it like soul food. This movie, Troy is going to be looking for a job and can't get one, like Lim.
Yeah, and the difference is that Troy is just on the opposite side of the law as Lim. Because, Lim was a convicted criminal and Troy is a good guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a good nod, But I just needed him to talk to him that way that your boy was talking to Lim.
You wanted him to put on
lunch.
a whole bunch of you wanted him to put some lip gloss on his lips, and you wanted Tyler Perry to pan in, and he would be like,
Yeah, I can't remember that line.
Coke bottle
he said,
or something. He called her. I used to call her Coca-Cola. Something.
Oh, Cola, we go way back.
Man, he was so disrespectful. He was very disrespectful.
Man. It's just a little something, I used to call her back in the day, since she got that body shaped like a Coca-Cola bottle, huh?
But see, and then too, if it's about shape too, all right, I'm getting into my writer's hat, but about her shape, and then it's the irony of Mike and them having the problems because of Sheila's weight too, bruh. Come on. There was something there. If you should have took it all the way there, Tyler Perry.
So she done sat herself here and begged for this job for
behind
her
her husband's back.
Mm-hmm.
But Pat and Gavin, they were like a template for us.
I know, me too.
So the girls are together to have drinks, everybody but Patricia. And, they get into these philosophical conversations about relationships, blah, blah, blah. And Sheila makes the statement that if you think the man's cheating, then he's cheating.
If you think he's cheating, then he's cheating.
And also she talks about how Pat and Gavin, now being going through a divorce, were the template for all of their relationships. And we sort of speculated on that in the last movie when we discussed things. Then the other thing that I was thinking to myself was like, okay, are you serious? But Sheila decides to give some advice to Angela, just like in the last movie. And this time it's about Angela's drinking. And she's like, you might not want to listen to the voices in your head about these things.
Did you smoke so much weed in college? You might not want to listen to that voice in your head.
Talking about Marcus cheating and stuff like that. And if you're always in a chemically induced state, you might want to reconsider.
If you're always in a chemically induced state, you might want to reconsider everything.
And I'm like, okay, that was kind of out the blue and off the cuff for you to say to your friend at the table while you're casually having drinks.
Yeah, that's probably why you showed up. I don't know, but
we
could talk more about that in Angela's video that we're doing in this movie.
But I want to get on the part where Sheila's part in this. So again, this is very similar to the first one where Sheila was saying she was going to pray for Angela and Marcus's marriage while her marriage was in shambles. And I think once again, we have a little bit of not hypocrisy, but just a little bit of her being in denial about her own situation and, kind of needing to keep her eyes on her own homework while she's over here, trying to dole out advice.
Yeah, but it might be good advice, because everybody, they just like, oh, she want to drink and stuff. And then Sheila is willing to be like, hey, you might want to think about your drinking.
Yeah, I don't think it was bad advice. I just think it was just kind of like, good advice coming from the wrong person. Or
none of them would be able to give any other one advice. Right? Because they all got something going on.
That's true too. That is true too. And I will agree that I do like that she said relationships are supposed to be about trust. And
but they were talking about cheating and stuff. And Sheila says, if you think he's cheating, then he's cheating. But when we get from the first film, she was actively trying to make herself believe that Mike wasn't cheating, right?
Well, and that's maybe it, right? So she knew he was cheating the whole time.
Yeah, but she didn't, quote, think he was cheating, right? So therefore he wasn't. If you don't accept it, then it's not the case.
Hey, where you been?
I went out with the girls.
Same day when Sheila gets home, she's still wearing the same dress she had on earlier when she met with Mike, when she went and had drinks with the girlfriends afterwards. She comes in and Troy is like, hey, where you been? And then she's just like, oh, I went out with the girls or whatever. And he's like, I'm sorry. He just like straight apologetic. And I'm like, this is weird. And he's like, I thought you left me.
I'm sorry. I thought you left me.
So it would be nice to know more about Troy's past. Because like, dang, why would you think that?
He got some trauma going on too.
She always threatened to leave him. And that's basically what he says. Every time we argue, you threaten to leave. Like, dang, bro.
Why would you think that?
Because every time we get into it, you threaten to leave me.
Just go then.
I'm not gonna leave you.
Good, because I don't want you to leave.
And he's like, married people argue even in a good marriage, and how, they have a good marriage.
Maybe married people argue even in a good marriage.
I know.
We got a good marriage.
And he don't know what he would do without her or whatever.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Look, he was just so frazzle-dazzled that he was like, I cooked. I even went in there and I cooked. And she like, well, okay, it smells good. And next thing you know, he's like, I got me a job.
I got a job.
Oh, babe, that's great.
And then she acts all surprised.
I know.
He says it came out of nowhere.
I start tomorrow. It just came out of nowhere. It was the craziest thing.
She don't ask, where's the job? What's the position? None of that. She already knows.
But my thing is, Sheila couldn't get home before Mike's Midas touch worked on his job. Like, that's pretty fast. When you think about it, she met with Mike. She had drinks for a couple of hours, and then he gets a call that he starts tomorrow.
Yeah, like, dang.
Mike works fast. That's what that power would do. So he's got a job now. And I don't know. Do y'all think she should have told? Should she have just been like, listen, baby, I got to tell you something. And I know you might be mad at me, but I don't know.
That's a tough one. But I met with Mike today, and somehow you got a job. And where have I been? Just with the girls.
Yeah. This is the descent into madness.
It'd be like, I worked really hard so you could get this job, Troy.
Oh.
I done some things. I'm in a bind, Nate.
Oh, shut up. Not Nate.
Don't hate me.
What'd I do?
Don't call my house again.
Next thing we see, and we are just totally confused because Sheila comes busting into that same diner where they had met before, and she starts yelling at Mike, and she like, don't you call my house and stuff like that.
You think you got me over a barrel because you helped Troy get this job? You are wrong.
And so clearly Mike has called Sheila's house. That's just unacceptable, and she's pissed with him.
And what kind of woman do you think I am?
That's not what I'm trying to do.
What is it?
And he's like, no, it wasn't about that. And then he's telling her, I need your help. And then he grabs her arm and his hand is shaking and stuff.
I need your help.
So like something is going on with Mike. Mike must be sick.
Mike must be sick. But the thing is, so she called him for help, and then when he calls, then she just totally goes off. But that's what happens. Helping is costly.
Yes. Tell us what movie that is from.
In the
Helping is
comments.
costly. If y'all know, you know.
Good job today there, rookie. Thanks. Looks like they trained you well up there in Colorado.
Troy's at work, and this cop comes in, and he's like, good job out there, rookie. And then it basically is told that, anytime the boss says that somebody comes highly recommended, then you just never know, because this is the network and nepotism sort of a thing, right?
Anytime the boss tells us you come highly recommended, you never know.
So you don't know what quality of worker you're getting.
Highly recommended by who?
He runs it down, some golfing buddy. This guy just happens to know.
Because Troy wanted to know, like, well, who recommended me?
Yeah,
your wife.
One of his golfing buddies, Mike, I don't know, somebody.
Why would this guy know all the details?
Anyway, he said that your wife asked him to hook you up.
I helped you. I pulled some strings to get you hired. I mean, what you didn't know?
And then Troy asks, you know where he lives?
You know where he lives?
And then this guy just happened to know where Mike lived too, I'm guessing.
He just know everything.
Bruh, this guy knows too much.
Lazy writing here. But, it gets the point across, right? It lets us know that now he knows that Sheila is the one who had got Mike to make the recommendation. And now he wants the address. Where is it? So he going over to Mike's house now.
Bruh, you about to lose your job.
You about to lose your job.
You think about it. He got a job. He found out that somebody helped him. And the first thing you want to do is go to the person's house? This is getting dark. Troy goes to the house that I guess this other cop tells him, where Mike lives. And Troy bang on the door.
He banging on the door like he the cops.
Yeah.
Well, he is the cops, but he banging on the door.
Sheila answers the door and she go, oh.
Tears running down her face, just looking.
And then he goes off, what the hell are you doing here?
The hell are you doing here? Are you kidding me? You trying to play me for some kind of fool or something?
Like,
you trying to play me for a fool? You're not supposed to be here.
The hell are you doing here, Sheila? You are not supposed to be here.
Sheila's returning the favor, bro.
Goodness. You got your job, didn't you?
Bro.
No, but I'm being dead serious here. Like, this was over the top Tyler Perry craziness.
Yeah.
That didn't have to happen. And no.
Wait.
Where's Mike?
Wait.
Don't touch me.
Let me just.
So we have the typical, film sort of a thing where the person can't just come out and tell you what's going on.
Talk to you. You know what? You can't explain this. Where is it?
Oh my God.
Troy's trying to bust in to find Mike, and she's like, let me just talk to you. Let me tell you. Hold on. Blah, blah. Everything, instead of just saying, this is the deal. It's over, right?
And at one point, he looked like he might, he was like, get your hands off me. It was almost like she could get hit in the process because he was very upset in that moment. And yeah, he finds Mike. Mike is laid out on the couch.
Get up! Baby. You lift it up.
Oh my God. He done punched Mike, got him all in the flow and stuff.
Wait, how could you be here?
Mike didn't hear none of this and didn't get up at all.
Well, he's just real sick.
You think I need him to get a job? Think I'm not man enough to find my own fucking job?
Sorry.
Fucking that nigga?
No.
Then she finally tells him he's got cancer, talking about Mike.
He's got cancer. I'm just taking him to chemo.
So Mike done got cancer, and that's why he is being kind and nice and trying to reevaluate his life.
And she's taking him to chemo. So is this before or after chemo? I guess it would have to be after how weak they had to show him, but yeah.
Don't care.
And then Troy is like, I don't care. That's how you do me, and he leaves.
I don't care either. Like, what?
I don't care. That's how you do me?
No.
Why is she so secretive? Why
couldn't she just say, listen, it's a way you could resolve this whole thing, and maybe because you felt like he got your husband a job, then you needed to come over here and do this personally.
Then you need to keep it from your husband.
Mike got so much money and he is balling so much. What he needs is you could hire somebody to do that. He could hire a caregiver.
Yeah,
you ain't got to be over there taking care of this man.
You don't know any other person.
You know, and
it
not
just
to mention
be the
that you
ex-wife
could
who
have
you
just
was
said,
laying the smackdown on.
She could have just said to Troy, listen, where she messed up was asking for that job. We agree on that. But like, she could have just said to Troy, listen, Mike got cancer and he's asking, can I be the one to take him back and forth to chemo?
Whatever. At this point in the movie, she is cheating, right? In the minds of who, like, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
You're smashing.
Yeah. That's what it looked like.
Cancer
That was
or
the
not.
point, right? That was the point.
Exactly.
It was to
so
look like
nothing
that.
she can say matters.
Mm-hmm.
Even after this, nothing you say matters.
But in that moment, that's what's in his mind. Because I think he went there to confront Mike. He did not go there thinking that she would be there.
Yeah, but she's there. And where's the kid?
I know, where the baby at?
He come from work. You supposed to be with the kids. You over here neglecting your kids and taking care of a grown man who was beating on you and everything else. That's like, it makes zero sense to me.
All I know is Sheriff Troy had a right to be upset. He's still Sheriff Troy. I don't care if he changed his job. He's Sheriff Troy.
Officer Troy done broke into this man's house.
No, he knocked, and then that door was open.
Yeah, but then he walked in, but she was telling him to stop. So yeah.
Well, I mean, so that's what happened, and in a way, it was unfortunate, but Mike had it coming because Mike did so much dirt between the first and the second movie.
Yeah, but he didn't really do anything to Mike, so.
So yeah, so like things have escalated, and they didn't have to get to this point.
Trust me. I'm sorry if I hurt you. I didn't know.
So the guys are at a bar with Mike, you know, because they still best of friends with Mike after everything that we've seen in these two movies. And Troy comes up and he apologizes to Mike.
I know we don't know each other, but you should know your wife. And she ain't that way.
That's not how this works.
Mike gets to be in a position of moral superiority and tells him that, you know, you should know your wife and she ain't that way.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Best man won.
Like, no, none of this worked. How was this resolved? That he saw his wife at her ex house just during the day when she's supposed to be with the kids while he's at work, didn't tell her nothing about getting a job, didn't say nothing about this guy being, I didn't know. Yeah, you didn't know because your wife didn't tell you. That's about the trust part, right? And he's like, you know, life is too short. Trust me, all this. But no, he don't get to have his character rehabilitated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no atonement there, and it's just simply a sob story that he got cancer.
So y'all need to make this right. All right, fix it.
But he does tell Troy, you know, the best man won or whatever. And at the end, he buys Troy a drink, and that's supposed to just make up for everything.
Sure. Come on, man. Sit down. Have a drink. I'm out.
But he does say that to make it right, telling all of them in their relationships to kind of smooth things over and fix things because life is short and all that. But Mike says about why he didn't tell everybody that he's sick.
So why didn't you tell us that you were sick?
He was like, what good would that have done? Y'all still at each other's throats.
What good would that have done? You guys are still at each other's throats.
Like that didn't make any sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
so he didn't say he was sick to his friends. And they did say, hey, you're our friend.
Oh.
We would have had your back. So
I'll be fine. All right, you know I'm a fighter. I'm gonna beat this thing.
clearly, after everything Mike's done, they're still in his corner.
In the movie, who apologized to Troy?
Nobody.
We didn't see Sheila do nothing. It's just Troy was just wrong because he found out at work that his wife was doing stuff behind his back and at her ex house.
Yeah.
And Troy got to come and apologize to the man who was laying the smackdown on his current wife. And like, it's just, bruh, it makes zero sense.
Just stupid fighting for what? You don't want to end up like this.
So basically, the only resolution that we get for Troy and Sheila's relationship is at the hospital after Gavin's accident. And we'll go into that in full detail in the video that we do about Gavin and Patricia in Why Did I Get Married To? But for now, it's just that they hug after Patricia encourages them all to fix their relationships and love one another.
Love one another, please. Fix it. Fix it.
They got back together because Patricia killed Gavin.
Shut
That's
up. But
and
you
they
know,
like, fix it. And then they hug. And then so, but the real resolution, I think, is Troy apologizing to Mike. So in the end of all this, Mike is the most terrible character. He's just right.
And actually, Mike says the same thing, right? First, Mike says the quote unquote fix it line, and then it's followed up by Dr. Patricia. Yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that when we get to Patricia stuff. But just the way, the resolutions of all of these in this movie, not there.
Yeah, and I think the main thing is that this film really was about Patricia and Gavin. As opposed to the first film, like how you pointed out, you felt like it was about Sheila and Troy and Mike. I just think that that's it. And since they weren't really the focus, you know, they had a story, but how their storyline was cleared up in the end was very raggedy to me. It's not enough. It doesn't fix the trust issue.
It still looks like Sheila was cheating.
We never got a conversation between Sheila and Troy after the blow up.
Yeah.
Like, what you mean?
What could she possibly say that could just be like, oh, yeah. They tried to sum it up with, oh, just trust your wife. You know your wife wouldn't do that. And that's just the answer. But would you expect your wife to just be sneaking behind your back, talking to her ex and getting you jobs and stuff like that?
Like, I needed a conversation. I needed for her to be saying, listen, this is where I went wrong. And I realize it now. I never should have said this to him. I never should have asked him for the job for you.
Yeah.
I never should have. And then tried to at least something.
In the end, you were still over there behind my back. You were inside of his apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
His house when I got there. When I got there, you were in there. I don't know what you could say. Like, let me roll the footage of the of the security camera.
This is you. This is you going up in this man's house.
But you can still stay together, but it not be like it's been resolved in that same way. It's just like, all right, we're married, so I'm never gonna believe you, but we can get through this.
I'm never gonna believe you, but we can get through this. Maybe what about they talk about their things. Hey, I want to stay together. We got to go to counseling. And not Patricia.
I know, right?
Yeah, we're going to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
With a little more distance between the relationships. But overall, I mean, how did you feel about this film and their story?
I think that it just took a big turn, and I guess you got to bring in the drama. And I think that's what Tyler Perry did. He just brought in the drama for their story because it really would have had none if we would have stuck to the same characters. But it makes Sheila look very bad. Like, you got out of this. She was supposed to be just a good woman, right? And you overdid the good because she's so good. She's helping out her abusive ex who treated her terribly when in his time of need. You know what I'm saying? So she has this moral superiority in that sense. But you overdid it to where it's bad because I'm so morally great, or superior that I have to sneak behind my husband's back to do these things.
Here's what I think, and as an alternate ending, y'all gonna hate this, but okay. So as the alternate ending, I would say this. Let's go back. Sheila actually does cheat with Mike, right? somehow in the midst of their caretaking, and let's say it's not, maybe they kiss or something, but she cheats in that way. And then she decides that she wants to be with him instead of Sheriff Troy.
Yeah.
So after everything Sheriff Troy has given up, Sheila has decided to go back to Mike's trifling butt. Again, this is an alternate ending. But the reason I think that this makes a good alternate ending is not because you're going to feel so great about it at the end of it all, but like it brings the drama and it's craziness and it's realistic because this is the type of thing that happens in real life.
Exactly, because what we know is that Troy was basically just a rebound. He was there when she had this breakup saying all the right things, right? And she wasn't seeing straight at the time. And then when they got together, they had their issues. But in this second movie, Mike, like we really saw when she was down for breakfast in the morning, Mike was rizzing her up the whole time.
Risen. Okay, we're bringing that word riz back.
You know what I'm saying? I'll try to incorporate the youngin' slang. Mike was rizzing her up when she called him. He was rizzing her up. Then when he called her, right, rizzing her up. And then when they go into chemotherapy and he's there while your husband, who's been struggling to get a job, is at a job, you away, he's rizzing you up and knocking it down again. And he's looking at things differently because he has this this disease, and he's not gonna beat you and all that because part of the reason is he on chemo, so he's weak too. So it looks better than it did the first time you were married.
Yeah, and I think, okay, so at the end of it all, Troy's gonna have a broken heart and it's gonna be all sad, right? But instead of Patricia getting to see the rock at the end, maybe it should have ended with Sheriff Troy getting to see, his
Patricia.
No, listen, don't do. Sheriff Troy can't have two in a row if that was the situation. So it could end with Sheriff Troy seeing his, ideal mate, right, and smiling, and then or whatever. No, it ain't.
And she go back and buy the general store for him.
Shut up! No, it is not Patricia. Patricia doesn't even deserve the rock at the end.
Yeah, you're right about
that. Let alone
we're gonna
Sheriff
talk about
Troy.
that one some other time.
Oh
but
my gosh! But yeah, that's my version of an alternate ending for this. The way it ended, it just was very unresolved for me.
Did Tyler Perry ruin Troy's character?
I think he tried to ruin Troy's character, but I won't let it happen.
Yeah, I think he tried, he was like, I'm trying to get a job. But the part that I don't like about it is I'm going to do it on my own. That's the same thing that Sheila did, though. So I guess he tried to reverse the roles.
The male Sheila.
Somewhat, yeah. But I don't think it
But
really
he
worked
wasn't
out.
super keeping secrets. He was just like, I don't want my business in the street.
Yeah.
And that's different than like, I'm going over here to take care of my ex-husband with chemo.
But no, not that keeping secrets part. The part of I'm going to just do it all on my own. I don't need no help.
Yeah, that was very much Sheila in the first movie. So, yeah, but I mean, we appreciate you all.
Link is in the description. But if you made it this far into this nice long breakdown, type why is Mike there in the comments so we'll know you're one of the real ones who stick around to the end.
And be sure to check out our series on Why Did I Get Married, the playlist on the screen right now.